Here at Soldier Field, the excitement is building. We have some intrigue already. We have the Bears and the Packers. It's Hyundai Night Football here on WCIU. For football along the lakefront here in Chicago, two undefeated teams will collide, and they happen to be the biggest rivals in the National Football League, the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers, and you'll see it all tonight here on the U. Good evening, everybody. Dan Roan, welcome to Hyundai Night Football on WCIU as we get set to bring you the Bears and the Packers, and we'll get you all warmed up for that in the next half hour. Already some storylines are developing, and for more on that, we want to bring in WGN's Rich King, who covers the team on a daily basis. And Fish, we've got a couple of lineup changes here tonight, beginning with the Bears, specifically Tommy Harris, who has been declared inactive for this game, will not play, not injured. It's a coach's decision. Now, you're up there all week covering these guys. Did you see anything that was going on at Hallis Hall this week that would have led you to believe that Tommy Harris would not play in the game tonight?
However, Tommy Harris would not play in this game, but no indication whatsoever that Tommy Harris would sit this one out. Lovie Smith, of course, very secretive as always with his players. A couple of years ago, Tommy Harris got suspended for a game for mouthing off, so this is not exactly new if he did get sat down for something other than an injury, but it could be an injury. Right now, we simply don't know. So Tommy Harris is out. Matt Tuina, third-year player out of Oregon, will be his replacement. We surmised Donahue. Here's where Donahue moves to end in the situation. So that'll disrupt the line a little bit. And you wonder about that Packers running game, which is not very good this year, if they can somehow take advantage of Tommy Harris being out. Tommy's kind of a disruptor in the middle, gets a good push off the ball, and it's kind of an unsung hero in there. So we'll see what happens with the Bears' defensive line. Also, Devin Aroma-Shadu, who sat pretty much out in Dallas last week, again sitting it out. Mike Martz, Dan did address that during the week, said in certain patterns, Devin does not fit into the Bears system, and that's why he set him out. Nothing to do with him dropping balls or anything, although he has dropped some balls. But you got to wonder if Devin is having trouble picking up the Mike Martz game plan, and that's why he's not active in this roster with Chicago Bears again this week. Second straight game, he will not be a participant.
Yeah, I think it may be production related for both these guys. I mean, Tommy Harris has a tackle and a fumble recovery in 2 games, and the fumble was one caused by Julius Peppers that bounced right back into his chest. And, they talked about Aroma-Shadu not being able to play from the slot. He wanted to play on the outside, but he hasn't done well in terms of catching the ball or blocking. And Daryl Drake told one of our guys just a little bit ago, the Bears receivers coach, that Aroma-Shadu was not playing because he hasn't caught the ball and he hasn't blocked anybody. So you have to produce to be on the team, and apparently that's the story with both Tommy Harris and Devin Aroma-Shadu tonight.
That's very true, Dan. And Tommy Harris has had some good games and some bad games. Ever since the injury, it's been mostly mediocre games for Tommy Harris. Let's face it, so he's not been a big star he used to be. And maybe they're getting to the point now where they say, look, enough is enough. Let's get somebody else in there. We simply don't know right now.
Well, he's not getting his value, that's for sure. Well, Rich, we know this is a terrific rivalry. It always has been. This is the 180th meeting between these two teams. The Bears have won 91 of these. They're going to try and make it 92 tonight, even though they're a 3-point underdog to Green Bay as they come into this one. The Bears have won 6 of the last 10 here, too. And all the players know that this is the one that everybody points for every
80th meeting, so they've been at this for a long time, but it's just the second time this late in the season these teams have met unbeaten, untied. Packers have defeated Philadelphia and Buffalo. They pulled away in the second half at Lambeau last week. Meantime, the Bears beat Detroit here week 1, but when they beat Dallas last week in Dallas, it opened eyes and has Chicago buzzing. And both franchises have the league paying attention because they've got young quarterbacks to maybe take us to the next generation of this rivalry. Joining me, John Gruden and Ron Jaworski. And I want to start with the Bears story here, Jaws, because Jay Cutler plus new offensive coordinator Mike Martz seem to be kind of hand in glove. It seems to fit pretty well.
Yeah, so far so good. And Mike Martz and Jay Cutler are really joined the hip now. And what I like is they see the game through the same eyes. Mike Martz is a very aggressive designer of offense. He wants to attack down the field. And that fits the skill set of Jay Cutler. He likes to think touchdown first and then check down. Throw the ball down the field. What I like about what they did last week in the Dallas game, they altered that game plan because they couldn't protect Jay Cutler. They went to the quick, short passing game. That's why I say they're now on the same page. If they struggle tonight in protection, I think you'll see the screen game and the draw game, Coach.
Yeah, but I want to talk about Mike McCarthy of the Green Bay Packers. I don't think this guy gets enough credit. I mean, every one of these offensive players for the Packers was drafted by Green Bay and developed by Mike McCarthy. And his star pupil is his 27-year-old Pro Bowl quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. And in Mike McCarthy's system, Rodgers has been flat out unstoppable. He can make all the throws. He makes great decisions. And when he scrambles, he hurts you. They've averaged 30 points a game since Rodgers took over for Brett Favre. This combination of McCarthy and Rodgers, it's as good as there is in this business.
So we've got excitement around the offense, but as we said at the top, this series has been about defense. We'll tell you the defensive story here in a minute. But I want to point out something Rodgers does so well. As we take you inside the Verizon red zone, Aaron Rodgers threw an interception in the red zone his very first game in the NFL. Hasn't thrown one since, and 39 touchdowns. He knows what to do down there. Jay Cutler's made some mistakes in the red zone. Could be key in a tight game tonight. You'll see it all from the beautiful city of Chicago in high definition. Our telecast presented in HD by Verizon. Be right back. Each team has a defensive player of the year. Brian Urlacher broke his wrist in the opener against the Packers last year. He is so psyched and renewed to be back on the field. The reigning defensive player of the year is wearing the Packers colors. Charles Woodson, the former Heisman Trophy winner out of Michigan, figures to be all over the field against the Bears tonight. Now time for tonight's winning look, which is presented by J.C. Penney. Let's talk about what happens up front here with the Bears. Chris Williams, their left tackle, is out again tonight. When he went out, there were big problems, and it could be a big problem if they're not solid up front because of what Green Bay does on defense.
Oh, yeah, and a guy they have by the name of Clay Matthews, who has 3 sacks in each of the first 2. Total of 6. The Bears offensive line must identify him. He's the only pure pass rusher that the Packers have, and defensive coordinator Dom Capers does a terrific job of putting in position to make plays. Here's their psycho defense. 1 down lineman, 5 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. And this is to create a mismatch for Clay Matthews to see the sack. He can then put his hand in the ground and just come off the edge. Pure speed getting after the quarterback. Here he drags down Kevin Cobb and basically ended his season for the Philadelphia Eagles. But when you look at Clay Matthews, he will move around tonight. He'll look for that guy that he can line up and use his speed and try to get to the quarterback.
That's the problem when the Bears have the ball. We've got a problem when the Packers have the ball. Ryan Grant, their 1,200-yard-plus runner the last 2 years, out for the year because of an ankle injury. And, John, that means it might be a lot on Aaron Rodgers, which means he'll play into the Bears' hands defensively.
Well, Aaron Rodgers told us they might have to throw the ball 45 or 50 times tonight to win. And if that's the case, they better keep an eye on Julius Peppers of the Chicago Bears. A couple years ago, he ruined one of my best game plans, especially in prime time. Julius Peppers loves the bright lights. The bigger the game, the better he is. And he can ruin your best protection plans. But the thing I like about Peppers the most is he can play on the right side. He can play on the left side. He can play anywhere you want him to play. But you better have a protection plan for Julius Peppers. This guy elevates the play of the entire front four of Chicago. And when he gets there, he hurts you. Julius Peppers will be an impact player tonight that the Packers have got to deal with.
And we love these monsters of the midway throwbacks that Peppers and the rest of the Bears are wearing. The winner tonight will be the last undefeated team in the NFC. Bears-Packers coming up. For another renewal in this rivalry between the two all-times in the National Football League. No one's won more games than the Bears. The Packers are second. No one's more NFL championships than the Packers. The Bears are second. And Hall of Famers, they are first and second all-time. Brian Urlacher and this Chicago defense, tough to run against. Packers don't have much of a running game, so Aaron Rodgers going to carry a lot. But first, it's Cutler and the Bears. Mason Crosby kicks, and off we go from Chicago. Johnny Knox going to take it from 5 yards deep. And a good tackle at the 15-yard line as Derek Martin gets us going on special teams. Here comes Jay Cutler, first-round pick by the Denver Broncos. But this is the team he grew up rooting for. Grew up in Santa Claus, Indiana, a couple of hours away. And what he's done with Mike Martz the first 2 games, John, has a lot of folks excited because they're getting yards and they're doing what Cutler does well, throwing the deep ball.
Yeah, it should have people excited. Cutler has really responded well to Mike Martz. They're going to change formations repeatedly. They're going to put their offensive skill players in the best positions they can, but Jay Cutler can make all the throws.
Mike Martz obviously not happy they haven't run the first play, and he's screaming and hollering from the sideline about his personnel.
Yeah, it was interesting. To start the game, they came out one set of personnel, brought guys out for confusion, and almost confused themselves. Matt Forte, Chester Taylor, the backs. They just beat the delay of game, and there's nowhere to go for Taylor. Clay Matthews, the reigning Defensive Player of the Week in the NFC, makes the stop. So we'll see both backs, Forte and Taylor, good pass catchers, with Greg Olsen, a tight end who can get down the field, and the speed of Devin Hester and Johnny Knox on the outside. Chris Williams, hamstring injury, so the normal left tackle is out. Frank Omiel moved from right tackle to left tackle against Dallas. Jaws, he said it was the first time in a year and a half he'd been over there left tackle. Handled himself okay.
Yeah, he did a very good job. Once he calmed down after that first quarter against the Dallas Cowboys, did a nice job.
No gain on first down, second down, first throw. Cutler down the middle has Knox. Gain of 23, first down Chicago.
If you get time in the pocket, this is what Jay Cutler can do. Frank Omiel, we just spoke about, did a real nice job. Cutler has time. If you get time in the cradle, you will have time to get the ball down the field and execute the Mike Martz style of offense. There you see the patented dig route to Johnny Knox.
Brandon Manumaleuna, essentially a tight end, lines up at fullback. Woodson's pressure started this, and it's a combo sack with B.J. Raji and Frank Zombo, undrafted rookie out of Central Michigan, making his first NFL start.
Well, Charles Woodson blitzes for the first time tonight. We had a feeling he was going to be real active tonight. You're going to see him coming right off your left side. He beats Forte to the inside. Clay Matthews keeps it alive. You get pressure on Jay Cutler. You get that furious Green Bay Packer pass rush in Cutler's face. It's going to be hectic for Cutler tonight.
It's already 11 sacks in 2 games in a series for the Packers this year. Draw with Forte. Bouncing to the outside, gets back most of the penalty yards. We'll have 3rd and 8 against this Green Bay defense. I'll take you through. They are not very deep up front with Pickett, Raji, and Cullen Jenkins, who's working with a broken left hand. He's got a big old club on his hand. Linebacking core, we've already talked about Clay Matthews and his 6 sacks. Zombo out of Central Michigan was a defensive end, undrafted. Makes the start for the injured Brad Jones. You're going to see 5 defensive backs a lot. That means 2 rookies, undrafted Sam Shields out of Miami and Morgan Burnett, the 3rd-round pick out of Georgia Tech. Welcome to the NFC North, and welcome to Monday Night Football.
Here's that psycho package from the Packers. 1 defensive lineman.
And 5 linebackers and 5 DBs. Cutler beats it with a first down to his fellow Vanderbilt alum, Earl Bennett.
It's all about matchups, Mike. You get Brad Chiller, a linebacker, on Earl Bennett. You expect your wide receiver to win. The psycho pressure did not get to Cutler. He had time.
We'll take a look at it. Cullen Jenkins, the only defensive lineman on the field. And Olin Kreutz, 13 years he's been the center of the Chicago Bears. They just stand in there. They keep their eyes open, their head on a swivel. Good pickup, big 3rd down conversion.
Especially after you had a sack to lose 11 yards. Able to get it all back. First snap from Packerland tonight is Forte to the right. Good job by Forte for about 6 yards. Matt Forte had a terrific rookie year, 1,238 yards. Last year, he just wasn't right. Never really kicked in. And, Ron, we find more and more it had to do with an injury he suffered with all year.
And no question about it, the injury really slowed him down. He really regressed a year ago, but he had an incredible offseason. He got himself in shape. He fixed that hamstring problem that he had, and his quickness is back. And in a Mike Martz style of offense, that back as a receiver is critical. Forte looks like he's right.
6 on first down. Here's Forte running for a yard and a half. Look, let's just say this up front. The only thing Matt Forte and Marshall Faulk share in common are initials, okay? But with Mike Martz's offense, people are talking about what running backs do. This is what Marshall Faulk did. And, John, Forte's the kind of pass catcher that he will be able to help in that receiving column a lot.
Yeah, Forte's not just the guy that has good hands. He knows how to run patterns. He has very good instincts. He knows how to set people up, and you can use him in an array of formations. He is a very accomplished receiving back.
3rd and a long 2 for Chicago. Devin Hester took an extra step there. He'll kill the play. It'll be a penalty for the motion at the top of the screen on the receiver.
False start, offense, number 82. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Calling on Olsen, it'll be 3rd down.
I like the personnel package that the Bears had on the field. We're talking about Matt Forte as receiver. Well, they matched him up with another excellent receiver, Chester Taylor. Pick your poison. Who do you want to match up on 3rd and 3 coming out of the backfield?
Now it's 3rd and 7. Cutler. Flag coming for pass interference. Charles Woodson grabbed a hold of Hester.
Pass interference, defense number 21. Automatic, 1st down.
Defense of Green Bay, 3 penalties in the first 3 games, all 3 on Woodson.
Well, there's no question about that. Charles Woodson playing the nickel corner right here. Hooks Hester, who broke flat across Charles Woodson's face. That's a good call by the official.
So a great opening drive here for Chicago. Over 5 minutes they've kept it. Desmond Clark now in front of Forte. Woodson with the stop. Ball comes out, but whistled down first. And this be a gain of a couple.
That's one thing Mike Martz told us he's going to go to his Bubba package. The Packers have played almost all nickel in their first couple games. And they jump into 2 tight ends, 2 backs. They try to slam it at the Packers. But watch Charles Woodson once again going for the strip. Boy, that ball looks like it's out.
Ooh, you know, now that you get a look at that, that might be out before it comes down. It was called on the field, no fumble. He's laying on a player, the elbow's down, but that ball's starting to move as the elbow comes down.
I might throw the flag.
Yeah, watching the Packers sideline, I don't see anybody throw it. They will not challenge. As Cutler's got a ton of time. Deep downfield for Hester. Too late. Out of the back of the end zone, incomplete. Morgan Burnett and Nick Collins, the safeties, trailing Hester.
I'll tell you what's impressed me so far is this Chicago Bear blitz pickup. Here comes the first cross dog. Watch inside. You're going to see 2 linebackers on a cross dog blitz, and A.J. Hawk loses his helmet. But if you let Jay Cutler stand in the pocket and look down the field, he's going to show off his arm tonight. Good pickup by Chicago early in this football game.
Canadian football would have been a touchdown. 3rd and 8.
There's your cycle package once again. Here they come.
Woodson off the back. Didn't get there in time. Hester caught it, but brought down by Tremont Williams. And it'll be a long field goal attempt for Chicago.
Well, this Charles Woodson, Dom Capers moves him all over the place, and he is one of the great disguise artists in this game. He'll come late, he'll come from nowhere, but when he arrives, he rocks you. Charles Woodson's blitzed 3 times in the football game already. Pretty obvious what Dom Capers' game plan is here.
Robbie Gould with a 49-yard field goal attempt. Very accurate kicker. No good. Missed it from 49. So the Bears keep it for over 6 minutes, but get no points out of it. And the Packers will take over when you come back. On this Hispanic Heritage Month, joining with the NFL, celebrating football Americano, a quarter of the 2.9 million Chicagoans Hispanic or Latino. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers take over from the 40. John Kuhn, the first carry for a gain of 3 yards. It's Kuhn and Brandon Jackson were the running backs for Aaron Rodgers. who, although there was a lot of buildup and a great preseason, we saw him in Indianapolis. Ron, he wasn't thrilled with the way he played the first 2 games.
Yeah, he seemed to start out fast. And usually, when you look at a quarterback, I always look at their feet first. And if they're a little skittish in the pocket, they're usually a little bit inaccurate. That's what happened with Aaron Rodgers through the first 2 weeks. But he recovered nicely in both of those games.
A gain of 3. Rodgers back to throw for the first of many times tonight. Greg Jennings into Bear territory. First down at the 45-yard line. Let's tell you who's out there for Chicago. Kuhn and Jackson will be the guys in the backfield. Be interesting to watch what they do in the running game. Jermichael Finley, emerging tight end, with Jennings and Donald Driver still going strong at 35. Chad Clifton had some shoulder problems, missed a few practices this week, but caught the most practice on the important day and joins that offensive line group that solidified the end of the year. He gave up 50 sacks last year, but not many in the last 9 games. They got better, and they're all intact this year. Play action with Jackson, Rodgers, Finley. Ton of real estate. Jermichael Finley inside the 20. First down gain of 26.
The ability to extend the play is a trademark of Aaron Rodgers. They haven't run the ball a lick, yet he makes the play-action fake. You see the Chicago Bears react to it. He gets outside the perimeter, and Rodgers, with the movement, makes a perfect throw. Look at the eyes downfield. I always like to see the quarterback focusing down the field. He finds his big tight end, Jermichael Finley.
First time in the red zone tonight. Kuhn not going to go anywhere. Going to lose a yard. Julius Peppers, $91.5 million he was brought in for. Leading the charge up front. Big story tonight, Bears. Tommy Harris is inactive. Guy's been to 3 Pro Bowls. No injury, no discipline. Coach's decision. Tawina Adams, Sidonajay also up front. Briggs and Urlacher, 88th start together for these linebackers. Highest any linebacker combo in the league. Chris Harris, the safety back there with Bowman, Tillman, and Manning. He was a Bear when they went to the Super Bowl, went to Carolina. Now he's back with Chicago. Peppers moved, then the left side of the line moved. And we'll see if AB gets B. Nope.
False start. Offense number 76. Delayed reaction to the defense entering neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
I mean, you find a left tackle that wants to play against Peppers in this noise. Julius baited Clifton.
Yeah.
And that used to drive me crazy with Peppers. You know, they say they're going to call that on the defensive player for baiting the offensive player. I just don't see him making that call. But Clifton's going to have his hands full in this noise with a great rusher, Peppers. And here he is on the other side. He's going to go test Tauscher.
Second and 16. Bears bring some heat to the other side. It is James Jones. Keeps the legs going and gets a first down for the Packers at the 7-yard line. It's their 3rd receiver, Jones.
A lot of people think James Jones and Jordy Nelson are the best 3rd and 4th receivers in football. But one of the things that makes Rodgers special is he can get rid of the football in a hurry from the shotgun. I mean, that ball's letter high, and it allows Jones to run after the catch. Aaron Rodgers, I think he might be one of the top red zone quarterbacks I've ever seen. This guy really has a feel for red zone offense.
And the Bears dropped Julius Peppers into coverage, and there was no way he was going to cover the underneath that out route.
The confusion here for the Packers. So Rodgers, who has that great red zone streak without throwing an interception, takes a timeout. First and goal, Green Bay, when you come back to Chicago. Smith called the defense last year. The head coach has turned it over to Marinelli, who he has spent many years with in the same system. First and goal, Green Bay. Rodgers over the middle. Greg Jennings, touchdown, opening drive, Green Bay Packers.
If you don't have any steam in your pass rush, your scheme is going to be in trouble tonight. Aaron Rodgers does an excellent job looking off coverage and finding Jennings. Take a look at it. Shotgun, he looks to his right, throws the ball with great location. This guy is pinpoint accurate. They have to get some heat on him.
Well, they went that quarters coverage, and Brian Urlacher was responsible for that middle hole. He just didn't get there.
Mason Crosby bangs through the extra point for Jennings. His 30th career touchdown. Aaron Rodgers continues the great play in the red zone. Packers on the board first. And the Bears.
Boy, Greg Jennings, he's one of the best kept secrets in pro football. Outstanding receiver. He can run a lot of routes.
And most of them are deep. He's the guy that's, when you want to get the explosive play, it's Greg Jennings.
Danielle Manning has one career kickoff return for touchdown. Brought down shy of the 30-yard line. Derek Martin on the tackle for the second time. With a penalty marker down back where you usually see offside on the kicking team. Probably tack the 5 yards onto this.
Offside, kicking team number 55. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
And that's an area that drove Mike McCarthy crazy last year. They had 118 penalties, and 30 were on special teams. And they've got a lot of new faces playing. They've got a number of players hurt. They've made steady progress in correcting the penalty problem, but you never want to have to re-kick. This guy Manning has been a very good returner for the Bears. You'd like to keep Cutler and this offense pinned back in their territory.
Yeah, you're right, John. You spoke about correcting those penalties through a couple games this season, only 8. So they've gone from leading the league with 118 a year ago. They have minimized them, but that one will hurt them right there.
Interesting choice there. 32 is decent field position. Yep. Lovey feels that Dave Tobe's special teams can give him better field position. Crosby kicks from 25. Can he get to the 32 with this one? Yes. Good decision. Got out to the 42. Good job, special teams. Put a star on the paper of the head coach. Crosby had to go over there to help finish up the tackle. So Cutler will start at the 42. Can he match what Rodgers did? 4-4 on the opening drive. 62 yards and the touchdown to Jennings. Good field position for the Bears at their own 43. And starting safety Nick Collins is not on the field for the Packers. Derek Martin, the backup, 5th year out of Wyoming, is in there. So a backup and a rookie at safety. Cutler needs to bail out. Flag is down as he launches way out of bounds. Frank Zombo again putting pressure on.
Holding, offense number 63. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Roberto Garza.
That's the one thing you don't want to do against the Dom Capers defense is fall behind in the down and distance. And Green Bay is mixing up their pressures. Remember, Chicago is not an offense that audibles, Jaws. They're one of those offenses, hey, ready or not, here we come. And so far, Green Bay has generated pretty good pressure by utilization of these blitzes.
First and 20. Cutler with some time. The coverage downfield good enough. From behind, Matthews hits him. Want a flag. Got one.
Well, the one thing you got to like about Clay Matthews is the relentlessness. I mean, you may block him, you may chip him, you may double him, but he is going to stay after you, and there's clearly a face mask. But this guy's effort, this guy's stamina, impressive.
6 sacks in the first 2 games. Been very impressive.
Keep your head on a swivel with that guy.
Yeah, speed, got it all. Great football family.
The gain was 10, the penalty 15. So the Bears pick up a quarter of the field on that one. Behind Ryan Woodson to Olsen, the tight end. Woodson went for the ball, stripped it, but it went out of bounds. So it'll be a first down. And Chicago keeps possession.
That's one thing you can do with a joker tight end like Olsen. He's 6'6". You can split him out like a wide receiver, and he can use his size and body control to his advantage. That's Charles Woodson, a pretty darn good defender that he's running a back shoulder fade against. But once again, Charles Woodson punches the ball out. That's 2 in the first quarter for Woodson. He's going to get one.
Little trickery here.
Yeah, Jaws, they motion out to the Wildcat. And Forte puts it in the belly of Chester Taylor. A lot of work for a gain of 2.5.
Well, it's just one of those situations where you're trying to just disguise what you want to do, give them a different look, give those coaches something to think about upstairs. Mike Martz, getting a little creative with his play calling right now.
Yeah, but Jay Cutler lined up as a wide receiver, and he was going after these Green Bay Packers as a blocker. Take a look at it. It's going to be coming right in here. He's going low. He's going after somebody. Jay Cutler wants this one. Him and Aaron Rodgers, don't let the personal friendships affect your viewpoint. He wants to beat Aaron Rodgers.
This is 2nd and 7. Cutler shot down the middle, intercepted by Derek Martin, who he just tried to take out in that last play. Martin ruled down by contact at the 14. And what plagued Cutler last year, 26 picks a season ago, his second in 2010. Nick Collins injured his knee. He's on the sideline trying to get loosened up. Derek Martin in his stead and has a pick.
At the line of scrimmage where you're going to throw the football. You get a look in that pre-snap phase, get an idea where you want to throw the football. But ultimately, when the ball is snapped, that's when you read the coverage. Mike Martz is doing a much better job of zeroing in Jay Cutler, but that was not a good throw he just made.
And in a second, we'll show you the latest add to the INT list. Rodgers first down. He throws a shot off from Jordy Nelson's hands. The big hit came from Chris Harrison, complete. Back to the Cutler interception.
Here's the last interception. He's going to be trying to get down the middle of the field. You see those safeties divide. There's a hole in the middle of the field. But A.J. Hawk is in a good position there on Greg Olsen to undercut the throw. So Cutler has to go over the top, and the ball just gets away from him. But it wasn't there. This is a throw he should not have made. There was excellent coverage on Greg Olsen. A.J. Hawk in good position. If it's not open down the field, don't think touchdown, think check down.
Brandon Jackson. Nowhere to go. Lance Briggs, loss of 3. 3rd down coming up.
These Chicago Bears, not only are they an outstanding run defense, their statistics prove that. They stuff you. They make tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Lance Briggs, Urlacher, they run through gaps and they tackle you behind the line of scrimmage. That's the 3rd tackle for Lance Briggs behind the line of scrimmage. He and Urlacher love to penetrate. Tough to run on these guys.
Yeah, 1.4 per attempt through 2 games. You nailed it, John.
The game with Rodgers and Urlacher as the fans roar on 3rd down. Urlacher and all the Bears coming. Quickly to James Jones. Made the first man miss. Where's the spot? Needs to get to the 20-yard line. His foot was out of bounds at the 16. So it was going to be short of the first down. Manning had to clean up Zachary Bowman's miss, but it will be a punt by the Pack.
How about that call by the Chicago Bears? Rod Marinelli comes with an all-out blitz, and you have single coverage everywhere. And Rodgers catches, releases, and you have to make that tackle in a one-on-one situation if you all-out blitz. Chicago's lucky there.
Tim Mastay, rookie punter out of Kentucky, kicks to Devin Hester. Once feared, now a very average punt returner.
Don't kick it to this guy.
That's part of the reason the numbers are down, because people are not making that mistake.
He's going to get a chance.
55-yard kick. What a kick from the 29 Hester. Looking for space. Got a dozen out of the return. Good field position at the 41-yard line. We have a marker down with an illegal man downfield for the Packers. Or hold.
During the kick, holding, receiving team, number 53. 10-yard penalty, first down.
First initial signal is going to be illegal man downfield, but that was not the case. The holding flag was the call, so Lovie Smith's team will not have the benefit of the good field position. They'll start back inside their own 30. A lot of people didn't know if Lovie Smith was going to be back this year as the head coach of the Bears after the Super Bowl appearance off the 13-3 2006 season. Been a 500 team. But Lovie comes back, brings in Mike Martz, who he was familiar with. They were on the same staff in St. Louis together. But Martz was the head coach. Lovie ran his defense, and these friends get back together to try to get the Bears back to the postseason.
You know, when you're a head coach in this league, you know, you've got to have the courage to make those tough decisions, not only in player personnel, but within your coaching staff. You know, and he made the tough decisions. You know, it may have not been a situation where everyone said, oh, bring those guys in, but he brought in quality coaches, and there's one of them, Mike Martz.
So the Bears coaches on the sideline. Lovie was asking for an explanation. They saw the same thing we saw, the initial signal of illegal man downfield. So they start instead of the 41 at the 19. And Cutler gets Hester back to the 35. A 16-yarder is going to end the opening quarter.
Scott Cutler has no conscience. He throws an interception, and he comes back and makes a throw like that. This is going to be a heck of a football game. What a throw by Cutler.
Amnesia. I say it's amnesia. You forget about that last play.
After one along the lake shore, 7-0 Packers. Packers came in a year later. We start the second quarter of the 180th meeting between these teams. One playoff game and 178 regular season ones before tonight. The backpedaling Cutler over the middle lane is intercepted. Ruled incomplete. Ruled incomplete as Collins back in the game after injuring his knee. Almost had the second pick in 3 pass attempts.
Nick Collins does a real nice job. He's backside of this play, but he reads the quarterback's eyes. You see him jumping the route of Johnny Knox. The ball does come out, but very instinctive play by Nick Collins as he's reading Jay Cutler as he backpedaled away from center.
Almost the 4th straight game with a Collins interception of the Bears. 2nd and 10. Pressure from Cutler's right will bring another sack. Tramon Williams off the corner.
You know, when you play against Dom Capers and the Green Bay Packers, the one blitz that has to concern you the most is the corner blitz, especially from the short side of the field. Take a look at Williams coming from the bottom of your screen. Clean. Nobody accounts for him. That's easy pickings for the Green Bay Packers. 3rd sack tonight.
Jay Cutler's got to react better to that, John. It's right in his face. He's got to see it. The ball's got to come out. There's route adjustments. Quarterback has to see it.
Talking about Dom Capers, twice a head coach in the league, dialing up this pressure. Time here for Cutler. He's got to make 15 of them. Very close at the line. The mark is good. First down, Chicago.
Well, we talked about Aaron Rodgers and his ability to extend the play. How about Jay Cutler on that one? Broke the pocket, a 3-man rush by the Packers. They're dropping 8 into coverage. Got pressure, nothing there. Steps up, he sees that zone coverage, knows where that first down marker is, and just gets there. Good instinctive move by Cutler. Once he saw that the defense had expanded, he had the opportunity and took it.
That can't happen. You've got 8 defenders, 16 eyeballs on Cutler. That can't happen in a 3-man rush.
It just happened.
First and 10. Trying to get the screen to Chester Taylor, but just got rid of it as it was well covered. When we talk about Mike Martz offense going up against Dom Capers defense, 2 head coaches who've been successful as head coaches. Then after that didn't go as well, back as coordinators. And for all their time in the league, Martz with St. Louis, Capers with Carolina and Houston, they have not met, have not matched. John, you always like to remind us, coaches coach against coaches. And these guys with unique and distinct styles, very intriguing first matchup here tonight.
Very intriguing.
A run from the 46 with Chester Taylor. And I'll gain about 6 yards. A.J. Hawk has played a lot here tonight. Joins Ryan Pickett on the tackle. Let me come back to coaches, coach against coaches. These are guys who know what they do, yet haven't seen each other. So this is a very interesting feeling out process.
Well, there's no question. And Dom Capers is working from scratch. He's never seen Mike Martz offense and how he interprets it with the Bears. So this is going to be a game of adjustments. But Dom Capers said no big plays, and we have got to get Jay Cutler off the spot. We got to get him off the mark tonight, because when he gets hot, this guy stays hot.
See if they can sustain on 3rd and 4. Pressure again. Got to him again. Cullen Jenkins. That is the 3rd Packer sack in 21 plays.
Well, it's a 3-down situation again, and Cullen Jenkins, he is the best pass rusher. Excuse me, he's coming off the left side. You're seeing him coming off the left playing defensive end. He's the best pass rusher that the Packers have from a defensive line standpoint. That's 3 sacks for Jenkins, and he's got a big club on his hand. It's impressive.
Former Giant, decade-long Bear, Brad Maynard. To the sideline. Nice job by Maynard as he backs up the Packers inside the 10. They'll be at the 7. See if Urlacher and the Bears defense can kick-start Chicago after a 48-yard kick. Perfectly placed by Maynard.
Western, the world's largest hotel chain.
You look at Navy Pier and the great skyline of Chicago with tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. 54 degrees. It's always great to be in Chicago, especially that first feel of fall. And get the Packers and the Bears. Rodgers and Green Bay start at the 7. John Kuhn the carry. No gain. Peppers the tackle.
Let's go back to that touchdown pass Aaron Rodgers made. You'll see the hole in the Bear defense right in the middle of the field. But Rodgers looks to the right because he's playing a game with Brian Urlacher. Once Urlacher turns his shoulders up the field, he knows he's got the chance to get Greg Jennings behind it. Look at the eye manipulation. Move Urlacher. Now you got the speedy Greg Jennings behind him. That was really, really good design and execution and playing a game with Urlacher.
Second and 9, play action for Rodgers. Shooting it down the middle. Wow. Caught by Finley at the 35. First down gain of 27 to the tight end.
That's major league right there. Rodgers uses a dummy snap count, sees the Bear defense, comes out of the fake, firing for his big tight end, Jermichael Finley. I call this guy the big cheese. Look at him get down the field, and this ball is thrown with not only great accuracy, but confidence that Finley's going to go up and get it. What a throw and catch.
Big cheese. Got it?
Yeah.
The whole Wisconsin, I got you. 2 27-yard completions for Finley. Pressure on Rodgers. He gets away from Mark Anderson. Got out of the pocket so you can throw that one away and not get the intentional grounding flag. Look at a little Soldier Field in your face mask. Peppers finished it off.
It's another very good play by Aaron Rodgers. Escaping the rush, not once, twice. Take a look at it. Good pass rush by Mark Anderson, Julius Peppers in pursuit, and a heck of a job by Rodgers throwing the ball away.
Julius Peppers, relentless coming after Aaron Rodgers.
Second down, got rid of it quick to Donald Driver. Gain of 6. Here's a Sports Center right now with Trey Wingo.
All right, Michael, thank you. This summer, Trent Edwards was good enough to win an opening competition to be the starting quarterback. He was then benched, and 3 weeks later, he's not good enough to be on the team. Released by the Buffalo Bills, they'll go with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Meanwhile, sad news to report. Hall of Famer George Blanda died today at the age of 83. He played 26 seasons in the NFL, most notably with the Oakland Raiders. Michael.
And Trey, the first decade was here with the Bears in Chicago. A moment of silence for Blanda before the game here tonight.
Finley one-on-one with Tim Jennings down here at the bottom of the screen.
On 3rd and 4, Rodgers. No time to find it. Bought himself some time. Now he's got Kuhn running free. And the running back catches it for a first down. What a job by Rodgers keeping the play alive.
Aaron Rodgers, very impressive in the pocket. Escapability, mobility, then looking down the field to make a play. You'll see the four-man rush from the Bears. He's moving around, doesn't find anyone. What an intuition. The rush behind him, he gets away at the last minute. Gets away from Brian Urlacher and flicks the ball down the field.
Packers caught the Bears making substitutions and get Kuhn to run it for about 7 yards to the 41. The Bears were spread out all over the field chasing after Rodgers. They were a little tardy making the personnel change. There's a big game.
You know, one of the things that Packers love to do, that last third down, they get Finley over here one-on-one on the backside of trips, and Rodgers is going to try to throw the ball against Jennings in a one-on-one situation. But watch the disguise. Chicago rotates over the top. Excellent work by the Chicago Bears defense, disguising coverage and fooling Aaron Rodgers that time.
They were also trying to go quick as well, wondering if Kuhn made a clean catch or not, in addition to the personnel coming off the field. So Green Bay right on point tonight. Rodgers, first down at the 35-yard line. Finley for the third time tonight. And Rodgers is 9 of 11. There's been a sharp start for Aaron Rodgers, spreading the ball around as well. 4 or 5 different receivers catching passes. Meantime, Cutler threw an interception as the Bears got down to the Packers' 25. It was a bad throw, an overthrow in the end zone that turned into an interception. For these two 20-something quarterbacks who've developed a good friendship despite the depth of the rivalry. Thus far, Rodgers the better of play. Jackson left. Jackson down. Urlacher.
This guy, Brian Urlacher, he'll hit you. 6'4", 260-pound instinctive middle linebacker. Here's a reverse pivot, toss to Jackson, and Urlacher scrapes right over the top, and he'll lower the boom. Brian Urlacher, he's only about 50 tackles shy of becoming the all-time leading tackler in Chicago Bear history. Great to see him back.
With plays like that, he'll certainly get the record.
Second and 13. Rodgers is checking it to Jackson out of Nebraska. Brandon Jackson gets it to the 30-yard line. Fighting hard for a gain of about 7. That Packers sideline wanted a flag. Urlacher hustled over there. We mentioned at the beginning, Brian Urlacher, first game last year, Sunday nighter in Lambeau. He gets a right wrist injury, out for the season. He was just sick. He was away from football. It killed him to be away. And he came back with health and such a renewed energy. Plus Rod Marinelli, the new defensive coordinator's passion. And people saying, oh, you're 32. Thanks for playing. You're too old. Urlacher has come with a great set of steam here in the first couple of games of the season. There he is right over the center in that A gap that we talk about. Trying to get in on Rodgers, who got rid of it quick and got Driver for a first down. Mark it up at the 21.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, very good at the line of scrimmage, checking the protection. Now he knows he's going to get to one of the best middle-of-the-field receivers, Donald Driver. This guy will go in against anyone and make the catch. Those are tough yards in there, and no one better in the business than going inside and catching the ball in a lot of traffic than Donald Driver. But Aaron Rodgers got him in the right protection to get that ball quickly out to Donald Driver.
See how high he is. Almost 2 of every 3 catches he makes since he became a starter at 02 in the middle of the field. Elite at the receiver spot. Rodgers to Brandon Jackson. Got a hit, but went forward to the 12-yard line. We have a flag.
Holding offense number 73. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Darren College, the left guard.
Well, that's one thing about this Chicago Bear defense. They play a lot of zone, snap after snap, and they force you as an offense to conduct 10, 11 play drives. And of course, you know, during the course of a drive, somebody's going to make a mistake. That's what the Bears are counting on.
And so far this year, you talk about percentages, John, too. Only 1 out of every 8 drives go 80 yards for a touchdown. So you play that percentage that, hey, sooner or later, you're going to make a mistake, get a holding penalty, make a mistake, turn the ball over. That's why you play those percentages.
4 tight ends are dressed for Green Bay tonight. Andrew Quarles, the rookie out of Penn State. 5th-round pick, number 81. In the slot at the top of the screen. Rodgers throws incomplete. Charles Tillman couldn't get a hand on it.
You know, the Packers have had so much continuity on offense. These players all drafted by Green Bay, and the Bears have had a lot of continuity. There's just a misfire. Threw the ball over Jennings' head, and Tillman almost intercepts it. But when you see an offense that's been together for a while against a defense that's been together a while, you can expect the defensive struggles. These teams know each other very well.
There's your point, John. 2/3 of this Green Bay roster drafted by Ted Thompson and Mike McCarthy. Thompson, the GM. Most homegrown team in the league. 2nd and 20. Rodgers too tall for Jennings. And it's 3rd down coming up. And I thought that was interesting as Rodgers told us last night. You know, Aaron Rodgers has been a starter here now for 2 years and 3 games. But he came in and sat down in the meeting, said, hey, I know what's coming with the Bears. Like you said, they haven't changed. And it's my 11th time preparing for them in this system. Even though Favre was the starter, Rodgers was preparing for these Bears.
Yeah, and it's the same look. You know, Lovie Smith has been the head coach now. It's his defense. It's that bend and don't break style. Tampa, too, no matter who the coordinator is that comes in here, they play that same style. So Rodgers was prepared for it.
From here, a field goal will be 48 yards. See if they can get more. Kuhn, the running back, and instead make it a 37-yard field goal.
That's a really good play right there. Green Bay checks the ball down and gives Crosby a chance for a mid-range field goal. But Julius Peppers, again, over here against Clifton on the left side. That's the marquee matchup tonight. And so far, Clifton's handled his own.
He did an outstanding job there, right? John, you're right. Boy, Clifton had a man-to-man, no help. Kept him out, setting up the field goal.
Good start to the season for Mason Crosby, officially 38. Out of the hold of the punter, Mastay knocks it through. And the Packers take a 10-0 lead on the Bears. Late 2nd quarter. Saturday night, ABC or ESPN2 at 8 Eastern Time. Notre Dame Boston College will be available wherever the Stanford-Oregon game is not, either on ABC or ESPN2. Poor kickoff by Crosby goes out of bounds. 30 yards from the kick spot. The Bears will have good field position.
Off out of bounds. Kicking team. The ball will be placed at the 40-yard line. 1st down. Timeout.
Well, it's been a good job of keep away and move it for the Packers offense. We'll see if the Bears can sustain when you come back. Bears jerseys out downtown Chicago today. A lot of buzz on the streets. Chicago 2-0, off to a good start, but held in check thus far by the Packers, leading 10-0 as the Bears take over at the 40 after the kickoff out of bounds. Chicago's 4th drive will start with a Matt Forte run. Pushed back by Matthews. In trouble as Zombo gets over there as well. Big loss of 7. Woodson finishing it off.
Well, they're spending a lot of time in the Bears backfield, and when Chicago's throwing, the pressure applied from Dom Capers has been intense. Charles Woodson early in the game blitzes on Forte. The coverage down the field holds up, and they gang tackle Cutler. And then just moments ago, the short corner blitz, Tramon Williams not accounted for, easy sack. And this is 2nd and 18, a situation Capers loves.
Cutler loading, throwing. Hester slipped and fell down. Could not bring it in. 3rd down coming up.
If you do give Cutler some time in the pocket, he normally makes this throw. Offensive line was solid there, sturdy in the pocket. You can see Cutler's under duress so far. Dom Capers dialing up the pressure.
It's hard to set your feet. When you get hit, sacked, knocked down, it's hard to stand in there on these 7-step drops.
Packers rush 4. Cutler and Bennett on the wrong page, and it's 3 and out Chicago.
Well, this Martz-Cutler relationship looked very good for 2 games. They look a little bit out of sync so far here tonight.
Well, when you play against one of the top 3 or 4 defenses in football, if they get down on you, if they get up on you, I should say, this Green Bay defense, they love that.
Maynard kicking to Tramon Williams. 48-yard kick, Williams from the 19. Fans want to block in the back. So do the Bears on the sideline, and they're all going to get it.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team number 29. 10-yard penalty. First down, timeout.
So 8 penalties, first 2 games against Mike McCarthy's team, 4 tonight.
You got the smelling salt?
That NFL record now 288 consecutive games. And Aaron Rodgers has started every game since. So the Packers have started 2 quarterbacks in exactly 18 years compared to the Bears who've started 22 in that time. The most in the NFL. And the Packer guys have done everything and the Bear guys have done nothing. No Pro Bowls. A 300-yard game is headlines in the Trib in Chicago. Rodgers loading for Jennings downfield. Couldn't pull it in. Danielle Manning running with Greg Jennings.
You know, the Green Bay Packers run the ball just enough to set up what I think is one of the most wicked play-action shot teams in football. Take a look at this. Rodgers is going to come out of the fake, and they're going to full protect this, and he's going to launch it 60 yards in the air to Jennings and give him a chance to make another big play down the field. But when they take shots, Jennings is the shot guy. He's mad at himself for that one.
And that guy is some hose. What an arm Rodgers had.
The Bears need to stop, Mike. They need to make a play.
There's Brandon Jackson out of the backfield. Jackson tackled by Urlacher right at that first down mark. You know, let's talk about these backs here for a second. We mentioned at the beginning of the show, Ryan Grant out with the ankle injury, surgery, done for the year. He had surgery on Tuesday. 1,200 yards rushing the last 2 years. Brandon Jackson has been their third down back. John Kuhn was a fullback. Now, those are the guys being asked to play running back for Green Bay.
Mike, when you take a situational back like Brandon Jackson is really your third down back and say, okay, you're a guy, you've got to carry the load. That is hard to do. They really did not have another tailback that could back him up. So, you know, you end up with John Kuhn becoming a guy that's your tailback and getting carries this game. But it is not a dynamic nor explosive running game. But they give you the illusion of a running game. So every once in a while they get Aaron Rodgers outside on the pocket and swing it down the field to Greg Jennings.
Look at these personnel groupings the Packers use. Here comes 5 more eligibles. 5 more guys are gone. They're going to use all their fullbacks. They're going to use all their tight ends. They're going to do the best they can in Ryan Grant's absence, but they're going to give this young man, Brandon Jackson, an opportunity to deliver. I like him.
Second-round pick in the 07 draft out of Nebraska. Here he is running right. Urlacher hits him. Jennings hits him, but he keeps going and gets a couple of yards. Who knows? Maybe he'll develop into a number 1 back, but Grant was a downhill back. And for all the times we've been with the Packers, Mike McCarthy always talks about, I want to run early because those 1-yarders become 2-yarders, and in the fourth quarter, they become difference makers. Can they still do that? That's the question.
Ryan Grant wasn't a household name coming in here either. He was an undrafted free agent. They've got 2 other undrafted free agents playing on defense. They're going to develop their players. They have confidence in Jackson. It'll be fun to watch.
We're gain of 2. Pressure as Rodgers is hit by Israel Idonije before he could even set and throw.
That play didn't look good from the snap. Obviously, a little play action, but the Bears had some incredible pressure. Idonije right up the middle on a crash to the inside of Tauscher. I mean, Tauscher just whiffed on him.
That's the one thing with this Chicago Bear football team. They have 3 or 4 guys that play in a rotation, and they're all very active. Idonije is one of those guys. He gives them 12 to 20 snaps every Sunday, and he can rush the passer.
And Matt Tuina, who got the start tonight, been very active through the first couple games for the Bears, and you can see why. They've got that rotation. They can get him in the game.
And also in that play, Chad Clifton got banged up a little bit. Brian Bulaga has come in, the first-round pick for the Packers. He grew up a Bears fan. So many Bears fans in the area, as we mentioned with Trey earlier, saddened by the news of George Blandis passing today. NFL record. Man played 26 seasons, the first decade here with the Bears. They went on to Houston as they won the first few championships in the AFL, and then Oakland with the Raiders. He's still the 5th leading scorer in Bears history and an inductee in the Pro Football Hall of Fame 1981. John, you got to meet and know him a bit during your time in Oakland.
Sure did. It was a great man. Going to be missed.
One of the great clutch kickers during his time and his quarterback play as well. Honored before the game with a moment of silence here. 3rd and 8. Rodgers waits, gets to Finley out of 2 tackles, but he can't crawl for the first down as Peppers hustling all the way down the field. Finley's hopping like he's got the first down, but it's 4th down at the 2-minute warning. Packers will punt. We'll see if the Bears can make something happen with a 58 yards. Kicking away, kicked a line drive, 35-yarder. Hester hit it hard. There goes Devin Hester. Master, the punter, brought him down at the 43-yard line. He was one step away from a big one.
Well, if I'm Mike McCarthy, I am not happy at all. He hit a line drive right to the most dangerous return guy in football. Fortunately, the punter made the tackle because that was a house call. But do not kick a line drive to Devin Hester.
Well, Maste makes a great tackle. There are very few punters in the National Football League going to make that play on Devin Hester.
Tackle out of necessity.
Wow.
Just a 7-yard net. Great chance of the Bears, who haven't been good on offense in the whole half, to get right back in this one. Cutler, all 3 timeouts for Johnny Knox. Inbounds, ruled a catch at the 12. Last 2 minutes, any replays handled upstairs.
If you give Cutler time, he will rope it down the field. A deep corner route, 1 foot,
Yes.
2 foot. It is a catch. If you protect Jay Cutler, he can make those kinds of throws.
Gain of 31. Bears going quick to avoid a review, and they hit Olsen, the tight end, to the 8-yard line.
I give Jay Cutler a lot of credit. He has been rocked here in the first half. And to come back and take another 7-step drop and throw a strike down the field and then get hit again, you can't deny this guy has really shown some toughness here in the
Just
first
think
half.
back to last week. I mean, his first 10 drops, he got rocked by the Dallas Cowboys. He couldn't plant his back foot there in his face. Came back, responded nicely. So far, we're seeing the same thing tonight. Can it continue?
2nd and goal, a word for Hester. Backpedaling, pressure up the middle, shovels it to Forte. Woodson, good tackle in the open field by the reigning Defensive Player of the Year.
You can talk about these cornerbacks and how they cover and how many interceptions they have and their ball skills. I like guys that tackle. And watch Charles Woodson flash like lightning and in the open field and tackle a good back. That's a big-time play by Woodson.
It's going to be 3rd down from the 9. I know what the Bears are doing here. They don't want to leave the Packers a bunch of time, but they can get a first down at the 3-yard line, and now they've kind of got it all the way down to 31 seconds. You have a 3rd down coming up when we come back. Enjoy and more on remembering the Hall of Famer George Blanda. Coming up with Chris on the Toyota Halftime Show.
It's an area of the field where Cutler has made mistakes historically. He's got to be careful with the football.
Empty backfield, 3rd and 6 over the middle. Olsen, touchdown, Chicago. touch. Olsen able to slide into the end zone. Robbie Gould almost missed that extra point. Just able to hook it in. He's only missed one in his career. 10-7.
Well, Jay Cutler does a real nice job of seeing the field. He's one of the few quarterbacks in this league that pedals away from center. And look at this throw. He puts it right on the money, just past the outstretched arms of Brandon Chiller. Olsen takes it in the end zone. Good quick stroke by Jay Cutler. The ball comes out. You see the backpedal as he gets the ball from center. That gives him the ability to see the full field. Once he sees Olsen just get inside, he squeezes it by.
You know, this guy Cutler, he has his own set of mechanics. The QB fundamental handbook, he's got his own set of rules. Not many guys can drift away from the center, throw the ball while they're retreating into that tight of an area. Look at Mike Martz. You can see why he's excited to be in Chicago. You know, that young man can throw it.
I said, John, most guys around the league don't use that back pedal. But Mike Martz's system, they are full field reads. The defense dictates where you're going to throw the football. There's not a predetermined route. This guy's getting the football. So Jay Cutler uses that back pedal quite often.
Jordy Nelson's done a nice job returning kickoffs. It's been 151 games since the Packers have returned a kickoff for a touchdown. And Nelson took this one to the 41-yard line. 18 seconds and a timeout remaining for the Packers. And the numbers very much tilted in Rodgers' favor until that drive when Cutler gets back in there. And as you appreciate what these guys have done, both in their 20s, in their hopes and the franchise's hopes leading them for the next 5-6 years, if not more. Think about the 2 touchdown passes. How tight the windows are, as you guys like to say, in the red zone. Those passes were in about something like this big, you know? And they got them in there. And it's the difference between very good quarterbacks and just another guy.
I love a quarterback that throws with velocity. That's why you get him in those tight windows, Mike.
I'll go this way. How's it?
About 25 yards gets you to Mason Crosby's range, maybe even 20. Hit a 56-yarder at Philly in week 1. Rodgers tried to load up. The Bears were with him. Running all the way across the field. Out of the pocket, out of the tackle box, able to get it away. And he and Mark Anderson have a chat 30 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, Aaron Rodgers, one thing we know, he can throw the football. Look at this throw to Greg Jennings. Then you look at this throw, but how many guys are going to trust their receiver to make these kinds of plays? And the quarterback, the courage to throw them. Works the middle of the field, works outside. When you've got arm strength, and Aaron Rodgers has, you can make those kinds of throws. But what's really impressive is the way he trusts his receivers to make plays.
That's when you talk about in the draft, guys coming out, timing, he gets it out. Arm strength's not important until you have a guy with a big hose like that. They're like, okay, give me that guy.
Arm strength and accuracy.
8 seconds, they get it to Driver, tackled by Briggs. The Green Bay use its timeout. They will with 4 seconds remaining and take one shot at the end zone in all likelihood.
And they're going to set up the Big Ben Hail Mary here. And I love coaching this play. I tried to tell our offensive players they never call defensive pass interference on this play. And the Packers have 6'6" Jermichael Finley. They've got some skilled receivers. Protect Rodgers, put it up in the end zone, and remember, the referee will never call offensive pass interference. Maybe we can get one off the ricochet.
I've seen it called a few times, but it's nice to have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. He'll move around a little bit in that pocket, allow his receivers to get 51 yards down the field, and then heave it.
And you got the 6'4" Brian Urlacher is your deep safety.
Right.
He knows they're not going to call pass interference on this play.
And he's still got a great vertical jump, too, in addition to that 6'4", former safety in college. Bargain defensive foul, last play of the half. Rodgers finds space, launches to the end zone. Urlacher knocked it to Briggs.
How about that guy?
It turns into an interception.
Right, pass defense and an interception.
Well, the two guys who have combined to start 88 games together, highest of any linebacker combo in the league. Work on this one.
You don't see this very often. Brian Urlacher playing free safety on the Hail Mary play. But he does have a 36, 37-inch vertical. You want your best football players in position to make the big plays in a game.
Hey,
what a play.
Karch Karai can't spike it like that. And Tom Jackson's back
what does he say?
Knock it down.
You got it, Tommy. That one's for you.
Green Bay gets the ball to start the second half. Here's Boomer Toyota halftime show.
All right, Michael, Tommy would love that knock it down, and points not being knocked down that much, but the Bears getting it close. And what else would you expect? Hi again, everybody, in the 180th renewal of the series that predates even the name the Chicago Bears, back to the days they were known as the Decatur Staleys. Well, tonight's winner will be the last unbeaten team in the NFC. Now, think about that for just a moment. Last season in mid-December, both the Colts and Saints were still undefeated. This season, there may be nobody left undefeated in the league by Columbus Day, keeping a goose egg in the loss column in 2010, rough, as even the champions found.
Tight, as usual, with these two teams, 10-7 Packers as we get set to start the third quarter. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Ron Jaworski. Just one small thing can change a half, and it did for Green Bay.
Yeah, special teams have hurt the Packers. 4 penalties, and right before the half, you hit a line drive to Devin Hester. That's the difference in his game right now.
Yeah, and you look at this Chicago offense. They got to get jump-started. They're not going to run the football. They've got 8 rushes for 24 yards by their running back. So use those running backs, Forte and Chester Taylor, as receivers. Get them the ball in space. Make some plays with the passing game with the running backs.
8 for 24. That's heaven. Green Bay would kill for that right now. They, like everybody else thus far this year, cannot run it against the Bears. To the Packers first, and Jordy Nelson. The reverse action fake didn't do anything. Tackle at the 20. Here are the numbers at the break. Packers have run it 7 times for 8 yards. 7 of those yards came on a quick run by John Kuhn. We have 1 rushing first down in a Bears-Packers game. What is going on? 3 sacks by Green Bay, putting pressure on Cutler. That came in the first 21 plays. So that Chicago drive late in the half changed it.
It's hard to run the football against Chicago, especially when you don't have a running back that you know much about. Good reason why Rodgers is in a no-back set here.
Drive start at the 20. Chad Clifton back in at left tackle. Gain of about 4 on the pass to Donald Lee. We have a penalty marker down.
Illegal formation. Offense number 76 was not on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Here's Susie Colbert on the sideline. Suze?
Well, Mike, the Packers offensive line has been doing a great job against Julius Peppers. Lovie Smith was telling his guys at halftime, if they're doubling Peppers, somebody has to be able to step up and take advantage of that. And you know how Lovie feels about turnovers and that turnover ratio. So he's very upset that right now they're down on that.
That has always been a calling card of the Lovie Smith teams here in Chicago for the last 7 years. The March teams always turn it over a lot. And how that play out during the year. From the 15, Rodgers. Jordy Nelson. Gain of about 7.5.
Well, speaking of Peppers, let's see how he's doing. Backside cutoff block. There he is on a tackle. Peppers right here again. Penetration. Another tackle. Here's a nice pass rush. Good club. Good pursuit. Nice finish. Susie makes a good point. If you're doubling Peppers, somebody else has to step up and take advantage of one-on-ones. Keep an eye on Peppers. He's a clutch gamer.
And again, if you weren't with us at the start, Tommy Harris inactive tonight. Coach's decision. Second down the middle to Finley. He's holding on to that. Chris Harris hit him. He got the worst of it. First down, Green Bay.
Once again, Aaron Rodgers understanding the coverage, looks to his right, and then he comes back to his left to Finley. Rodgers, excellent anticipation as well. You'll see him. He's going to look to his right, but he knows he's coming back left. Once he read that double coverage, knew where the hole was, just between Lance Briggs and the safety.
Third 20-plus yard pass to Finley here tonight in terms of a gain. They check on the injured Harris as we take a timeout.
I was driving to Northern California. My son
zone power after staying down for a good part of the timeout. So the free safety out of there for the Bears as Rodgers on first down gives it to Brandon Jackson. Gets across midfield. And a first down into Bear territory at the 46. Back to this hit as Harris tried to stop Finley.
Well, terrific throw in there, but boy, what a shot that Finley takes from Harris. Head kind of buckles back. Good to see that he walked off the field under his own power.
I'm impressed the way these Green Bay Packer receivers have hung on to the ball. The Chicago Bears will hit you, but Jermichael Finley has shown no fear whatsoever going inside for Green Bay tonight.
Josh Bullocks has come in to replace Harris back at the safety spot. Rodgers to Driver is caught. Urlacher over there with DJ Moore, the nickelback, at the 40-yard line. And we'll watch Harris closely on the sideline to see if he comes back. Obviously, with concussion awareness so prevalent in the NFL, you have a very thorough review by the medical staff before any player can come back in. And Harris, a very important part of this defense, now at the free safety spot.
See the doctors checking him out on the sideline. Increased awareness over concussions. Protect the players.
Second and 4. Here's Kuhn. Ran through the first tackle. Still going. He was not down, not whistled down, because he rolled over bodies, never making contact with the ground. That's the way it's ruled on the field, and becomes a gain of 15. And they want to go quick so it can't be replayed. But we have Briggs slow to get up, and the clock is stopped for an injury check on Briggs.
Now, Kuhn is just a good football player. There's no sizzle to him. He's just a tough guy out of Shippensburg. We'll check on this right now and see if he was down or not.
Briggs was slow to get up, and Terry McCauley,
he's
the
down.
referee, whistled.
Kuhn's so excited to get some carries. This is going to be challenged.
Well, of course it is.
Got to be challenged.
Lovie Smith looked at it here. That is the flag.
Wow.
And there was the flag. They had already looked at it once in the stadium. The home team controls the replays that go up on the big board. So they fast snuck in a replay there, and then the challenge is taken here by Lovie. Or maybe Briggs slow to get up. He's going to save them the play here.
After review, the runner was contacted by number 99 of the defense and was down by contact at the 38-yard line. It will be third down for Green Bay. Chicago is not charged with a timeout.
And they can challenge for a third time if their next one is successful. Anderson getting his hands on Kuhn before he did the body roll across the rest of the Packers there.
And I think Mike McCarthy knew what was going to happen. I would assume Green Bay had plenty of time to get them their best third down and 2 play call. Huge situation for this Bear defense to deny right here.
Interesting, if Briggs doesn't stop there with what looked like a legit injury, then they don't get the chance to review that. Maybe that's a good way for people to go when teams are trying to hurry up and get a snap.
It's out for Finley at the top of the screen.
Urlacher coming. They throw where he was to Driver. First down in front of the nickelback, DJ Moore, at the 30.
That's why Green Bay is very dangerous in third down and 2 and 3. That's when they get a lot of man-to-man coverage. And Rodgers has so many options to go to. I don't know where you'd go, Jaws. You got Driver here, Jennings there, Finley over there, and this guy is pinpoint with his throws. That's a very good down and distance where Green Bay's had great success.
I would go to the same place Aaron Rodgers went. Working Donald Driver in that hash area. He seems to be unstoppable.
That is his office. James Jones on the outside, trying to go right through Charles Tillman over there at the 25-yard line. You know, guys, Aaron Rodgers kind of pointed it to us last night, and I'm enjoying watching here. Rodgers on one side, Urlacher on the other side, and we talk about the cat and mouse with the coaches. You have it with the quarterback and the middle linebacker.
Yeah, and Rodgers knows that Urlacher, Lovie Smith, these guys are outstanding at halftime making adjustments. I think the Bears have only given up 6 points in the second half all year.
Yes.
This is an impressive drive by Green Bay. If they could get something here, that's impressive.
Rodgers has hit every pass on this drive. Second and 3, check it down to Jackson. He'll get the first down at the 16-yard line. Let's show you a little bit of that back and forth with Rodgers and Urlacher tonight.
You know, when you play the Bears, one thing Aaron Rodgers told us, I've got to read Brian Urlacher's shoulder turn. If he opens his shoulders, I know he's going down the middle in that Tampa 2 defense. And that really helps Aaron Rodgers know where to go with the football. If I can read Urlacher's shoulder turn, I know it's too deep. I'm going to work my eye control. And so far, he's done an outstanding job of keying Brian Urlacher, finding out what coverage it is.
But the one throw we just saw, it was Briggs that was going deep and almost picked it off. So there is that cat and mouse game that we're seeing by Urlacher and Rodgers.
Peppers pressure. Rodgers flushed. Fakes the throw and goes down at the 11-yard line with a marker down as Tim Jennings came over for the stop. Peppers shaken up.
Holding. Offense, number 71. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Limping back to the huddle, the penalty on Josh Sitton.
Well, Susie talked coming out the half that Julius Peppers got to start making some plays. He's making tackles in a running game, but here he gets on Mark Tauscher and just jacks him up backwards, and all of a sudden he's just flying down the field. But Julius Peppers, he lines up in left end, right end, and makes impact plays from both positions, walking off the field.
I know he's had a lot of sacks in his career. I wish I could tell you how many times he's been held. Offensive linemen hold Peppers and keep him away from their quarterback. Very disruptive player.
Keep an eye on him as he's on the sideline. It's 1st and 20 after the Packers' 8th penalty of the night. Rodgers going inside again for Finley. Back into the red zone.
We talk about the game within the game. You know, Julius Peppers making plays. Here's the pressure. Here's the hold on Julius Peppers. They call that one, John. I know you're probably surprised by that, but he does get away, and you'll see the injury probably sustained. Well, don't want to guess on injuries, but he goes down here. But what I like is the cat and mouse game right now. We talked about Urlacher going deep in that Tampa 2. The minute they see him buzzing deep, they take that little check down. It's either or. He goes high, throw it down. He goes low, go over the top.
The opening drive of the half. Another long drive by the Packers. Rodgers the driver. Ooh, he is driven back by Tim Jennings.
You know, one of the things with this Chicago Bear defense, we ran a similar defense when I was coaching, and this is a 7.5-minute drive. The third quarter is almost over. They force you to convert third downs. They all tackle. They're corners. Take a look at Jennings taking a shot right here at driver. They don't give you big plays, and all 11 Chicago Bears can tackle.
But what they haven't done tonight, John, is create a turnover. That's what that zone Tampa 2 is about.
Reed to the left, Jennings to the right. Rodgers looking Jennings' way. Flag is down as the touchdown is thrown to Jermichael Finley.
Holding. Offense number 65. 10-yard penalty. Third down.
Tauscher, the tackle.
That's easy to see. You know, this Julius Peppers, if you can't block him, holding him sometimes is even worse. But take a look at Peppers. Get off on the snap, and Tauscher's beat at the top, and he clearly grabs him. And when you have two referees standing behind the quarterback, they're not going to miss it. That's the second time Peppers has been held tonight, and that's as good as a sack, if you ask me.
Yeah, that was right in front of the referee, and just to the left of the referee is the umpire. So they got those tackles pretty much in their vision all the time.
Now 3rd and 19. They can get a first down just inside the 7. Finley. Let's get the field goal a little bit closer. Almost right back to their other field goal, 38 yards. Rodgers hit all 9 passes on the drive.
You know, when you throw the ball underneath against the Chicago Bears, I could hear that. I felt that one all the way up here. Very good tackling defense. Not a lot of yardage after receptions.
Mason Crosby's 5 of 5 on the season. One good from 38. This one from 37. And this one is blocked. He's done it again. Julius Peppers, 10th block pick of his career. If it was clearly Peppers. Former college basketball star at North Carolina. Rejection. 8-minute drive. No points.
go to the NFL.
A decade ago, when he played college hoops at North Carolina, Julius Peppers blocked 6 shots in 7 NCAA tournament games. He's a pretty darn good kick blocker in the NFL. They went after Brian Balaga and Josh Sitton. Their gap over there, Josh, was 5 guys.
Oh, yeah, you knew where they were going. In fact, I spoke to Dave Taub at practice on Saturday. He said, we're going to get one. Now I know why. He's confident.
Finally, the Bears see the ball on offense in this half. Matt Forte, tackled by A.J. Hawk. A gain of about 5 yards. So Peppers has the great series that ends that long drive that took 8.5 minutes. But, John, what does that do when you're Mike Martz on the Chicago side waiting to get the ball?
It kills you. You're anxious to get out there and showcase your halftime adjustments. Your players are standing over. That's 9 minutes. You stand over there waiting to call your first play. I never liked that.
Yeah, because you're an offensive guy. Exactly. All the defensive guys are happy. Yeah, we stopped them. We go to the ball. Hey, you got 6 minutes. Go ahead and score.
From the 31, Cutler. Last drive, a touchdown. Johnny Knox into the secondary. To the 33. 36 yards.
Well, if you're not impressed with Jay Cutler's ability to rotate the spheroid, watch this throw. When he gets to the top of his drop, this ball, you can hear it whistling up here. Terrific throw to Johnny Knox, right in the numbers, and leads him into the hole.
But that's just a matter of time before you find the undrafted rookie, Sam Shields. That's a sharp post pattern that Johnny Knox ran. But clearly Cutler knew exactly where he was going. There he is, a youngster out of Miami. First year undrafted free agent. They got a target on him, I promise you.
Third catch over 20 yards gained by Knox tonight. Cutler. Nobody open. He's going. Put the brakes on Frank Zombo and cut back for the first down. And Tremont Williams shaking up on the play, Green Bay.
Well, those sneaky quarterbacks, you got to be careful. You know, sometimes they don't run out of bounds to avoid the hit. Sometimes they know they're going to be a yard or two short. If he slides, Cutler cuts it back to the inside. Here you'll see good protection. They're looking for the deep cross to Devin Hester. It's just not there. But the protection afforded him the time to get the seam. Like the cutback move right there. But my friend, get down because these Packers will hit you.
Leading rusher in the game tonight, Jay Cutler, by a wide margin. He's got runs of 10, 16, and 11.
They count.
Bears with a chance for the lead. Out of the backfield. Caught to the 10-yard line for Desmond Clark.
You know, this guy, Jay Cutler, when he was at Vanderbilt, he ran all over the field. This guy has tremendous mobility. Forget about his arm for a minute. Here's another accurate throw that's thrown quick and accurate. But Cutler's hurting Green Bay with his mobility as well as his arm.
John, what was nice there, he saw the blitz coming from Nick Collins, got the ball out of his hand. That's what this offense is about. Not a lot of audibilizing at the line of scrimmage. Read the coverage on your drop. There's always an answer to what the defense does. That time, it was Desmond Clark.
First and goal. Keep throwing, why not? Cutler throws it to Hinsdale. It's one of the suburbs. Get it out of here.
Glad you said that.
It's a local reference. I wasn't going to help
it was a wide receiver that he was running around.
Well, it's interesting now because here you are in the red zone where we're talking about the decisions being important and the space is a lot less short field.
Yeah, you just saw on first down they tried a maximum play action pass. Nobody was fooled. And when you get into second and long here against Green Bay, a team that likes to play maximum zones, every window is going to be tight. Here comes the Wildcat shift again.
Forte is there at quarterback. Cutler's out at receiver. Bottom of the screen. Straight run, Forte up the middle for 4. Third and goal from the 6.
I think it's a pretty good call, to be honest with you. You got a lot of zone defenders. Everybody's got their heels in the end zone. Let Forte jam it in there and set you up with a third down and convertible. But this situation right here, a field goal ties the game. Jay Cutler's got to be very disciplined. It's a touchdown or it's an incomplete pass.
John, I couldn't disagree with you more. You got a guy that's hot at quarterback, and you put him out there wide receiver and run a little play inside. You got a hot quarterback, let him throw it.
Olsen, Bennett, Hester, Knox, and Forte. Split out wide. No backs. Cutler throws complete. Twisting They say he's down shy of the goal line. The officials looked at each other. They say he's touched down by contact, shy of the goal line.
All right, Lovie Smith in this situation, the opening game of the season against Detroit, went for it on 4th down, did not get it. He's clearly short of the end zone.
He's rushed by Williams.
Now keep an eye on Green Bay right here. They do not have enough defensive linemen. They're going to use an offensive lineman as a goal line run defender. Josh Sitton, number 71, is in on defense to play goal line defense for Green Bay.
Timeout, trying to beat the play clock. It was down at 1. Challenge flag also thrown by Lovie Smith. He's going to challenge it first.
You got the smelling salts? I'm right.
Take a timeout and challenge, so those will kind of negate each other, but we believe by a whisker this is going to be down by contact. When we show you these replays, here's Terry McAulay.
After review, the runner was touched by the defender number 38 and is down by contact at the half-yard line as ruled on the field.
I want you to watch
Chicago
the stripes on his jersey.
First team timeout. Chicago is also out of challenges for the remainder of the game.
See the stripes right there, and then he brushes his face mask with his thumb. So there's the contact. Stripes of the jersey by Tramon Williams' right arm right there while the shin is down. Then he brushes the face mask. What it means, and I didn't mean to step on Terry McAulay, no challenges for the Bears until the 2-minute warning of the 4th quarter.
Yeah,
now they're still going to go for a
goal here.
Yep.
At the 1. And Green Bay, again, they have an offensive lineman playing defensive tackle in this situation.
Bears flex everybody out except for Forte. They're going to throw on 4th and an inch, and it's out of the hands of Desmond Clark. Incomplete, and the Packers will take over. Wow. You need just a little bit, and you throw it, and the veteran Clark can't hang on. Packer ball.
Series premiere Tuesday, 8/7 Central on ABC.
And 25 years ago in this series, we had William the Refrigerator Perry busting it in on Monday Night Football from short distance. Lovie choosing to go for it, as he did against the Lions in Week 1. They pass this time and are stopped. They were stopped on runs from the one against Detroit in Week 1. Chris Harris back in the game for Chicago. And, well, this is a penalty you'll take. Half the distance of nothing is nothing.
False start. Offense number 65. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
All right, what about the throw here, guys?
Well, the nose of the ball is down. The ball's thrown behind Desmond Clark, and the nose of the ball is down, and it's going to die. And Clark has a chance to open his hips and make a catch, but Jay should have thrown a better ball in that situation. Chicago's goal line offense, not good so far this season.
Jaws, would you have kicked the field goal?
I would have kicked the field goal, but in hindsight, it's easy to say. But there's you got to tie this thing up. A lot of time left.
Julius Peppers says Tauscher moved.
False start. Offense number 65.
You think it's going to be loud this time? This crowd in that end zone.
Like 3-inch penalties here.
You know, running a football is hard in this situation. The Bears run through gaps, cause so many negative yardage plays. Take a look at Tauscher tipping right there. Run selection, very difficult. 2 weeks ago, Briggs shot a gap and caused a fumble back here against Detroit.
He did. Well, you're going to see those gaps being shot again.
We have had a 99-yard Packer touchdown in this series by Robert Brooks in 95. Rodgers goes up top, and they get breathing room on a pressure throw to Finley. Gain of a half dozen.
Well, if you're going to get the matchup with single high safety, Finley on Danielle Manning, that's where Aaron Rodgers will go. He'll work the outside against single high. Here you see Finley. This guy runs routes like a wide receiver. On the money from Aaron Rodgers. That's a good matchup for the Packers.
A-Rod's already thrown the ball 33 times. There's just no running game whatsoever to lean on. And in this field position, that's a lot to ask of your quarterback.
Another throw. Driver second good open field tackle in a row by Tim Jennings on this side on Driver. 3rd and a yard coming up.
I don't know what happened to Zachary Bowman, but Jennings has played a lot since the first quarter on. Just a simple hitch route. Donald Driver's going to drive off. Ball's going to be thrown before he turns, but a nice sure tackle, limiting no yards after the catch. And when you can do that to these Packer receivers, you can do that against anybody.
This coach's decision with Bowman. He's over here on the sideline with his helmet on. 3rd and 1. Tonight, Green Bay 9 rushes, 21 yards. We'll try it with Kuhn. We had a whistle first, delay of game.
No play, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Might give you a better chance to pick it up because you can't get the yard running against these guys.
You know, the Bears will go their single high safety, and Rodgers will stand up and throw it to the outside, the one-on-one coverage. He's picking on those corners when they do not play cover 2.
And 12 penalties.
Yes.
Costly ones in all phases for the Packers tonight. That's been their Achilles heel.
6 in this quarter, 3 on this drive, all motion penalties. It's a Green Bay team that was the most penalized in the league last year with 118. And the quarter will come to an end before they have to run this 3rd down.
And now the other end of the stadium can make some noise.
The south end zone's really happy about it. No points in that 3rd quarter.
Or ESPN2. College football lives here.
The Green Bay Packers, the Chicago Bears, quarter number 4 here at Soldier Field in Chicago. The last 2 unbeaten teams in the NFC. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Ron Jaworski, Susie Culver with you. 3rd and 6 to begin the quarter for the Packers. Gets the 4-man rush. Rodgers throwing incomplete. Harris on the coverage on the back end at the safety position in the zone. It'll be a punt to Devin Hester coming up.
Very few times does Aaron Rodgers wish he had a throw, but he'd like to have that one back. He had Driver on a little corner route, just threw it low into the outside. He had a chance for the completion. Boy, the Bears will get outstanding field position right here.
Last punt by the rookie Mastay was not a good one. It was a line drive, and Hester was a tackle by the punter away from his first punt return for touchdown in over 2 years. Better kick with good hang time and great distance. 56 yards. Took Hester back to the 39. Picked up a block, and here comes Hester. He might go! Devin Hester! Got it! Touchdown, Chicago!
I just can't believe they kicked the ball to this guy. His resume is just too good. Mastay kicks a great punt out of the end zone. No one touches Devin Hester. You give this guy the ball in open quarters, he's going to hurt you real bad. That's twice tonight for Devin Hester. What a player.
Gold adds the extra point. He's 4th all-time now in NFL history. Punt returns for a touchdown, tied for 3rd. The 4th man to do it 8 times, and it's been over 2 years. But finally, Devin Hester back in the end zone, and the Bears on top. It's rocking on the lakefront in Chicago. Hasn't sounded like this in a couple of years because Hester hasn't brought one back since December 30 of '97. Eric Metcalf and Brian Mitchell have 10 and 9 career punt returns respectively. And Tim Mastay, the rookie from Kentucky, kicked a booming kick. But it went back. A short kickoff here. Jordy Nelson returning for Green Bay. to the 28-yard line. Well, remember when Lovie Smith kept saying, almost like it was a recording, Rex Grossman is my quarterback? He started to sound that way about Devin Hester. Devin Hester is my punt returner. Why? Because people wondered, it's been 2 years. By moving Hester to wide receiver, you took away one of the most vital weapons we had as a team, those Hester punt returns. Remember, he had 5 kick returns in 06, 6 kick returns in 07. Kept him on the punts. He hadn't done it since the last game of 07. But the beauty of Devin Hester breaking free and his own version of a Lambeau leap here at Soldier Field puts the Bears on top. Now Rodgers and the Packers need to respond. Peppers tackles Brandon Jackson.
You know, Devin Hester, I've seen guys that run 4.4 and 4.3. Hester runs 4 don't know. I don't know how fast that guy is. I like seeing that super slow-mo stuff so you can actually see him. But when he hits his stride, forget about it.
Well, John, I got to give you some props. We did those Monday Night Football luncheons today, and you said, I would never kick the ball to Devin Hester. Now I know why.
2nd and 7 from the 31. Another flag on Green Bay.
Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
This is what Julius Peppers does for you when he's playing at home in front of a crowd like this. He's been held twice. He's caused at least 3 false starts. Oh, you're not going to see it here. He's going to be on the other side. But Julius Peppers, the threat of his get-off, he's caused 4 penalties. He's blocked the kick tonight. This guy's having a game of his life.
Oh, the bright lights are on. He always plays well.
You guys said at the very beginning of the show. 2nd and a dozen. Here's Peppers busting up the middle on Clifton. Rodgers throws the other way to James Jones, who got out of a tackle, got across the 40, and Green Bay has a 1st down.
Well, Julius Peppers, it seems like he's made every play on the field. Here he is up against Chad Clifton with the inside release. You could almost call holding right there.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Hey, he's had an impact on every single play, it seems.
Man, I wish he wasn't in Carolina when I was coaching. This guy's scary.
Rodgers, driver. 1st down across midfield for Green Bay.
This is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see these quarterbacks go after each other in the 4th quarter. And Rodgers is keeping everybody under control. McCarthy is shifting personnel, changing people in and out. And Aaron Rodgers continues to take what the defense gives them. The question is, can Green Bay sustain a drive? They've been unable to do that for a while.
No, they sustain a drive. They haven't scored.
Rodgers uses one of the 3 receivers right. Finley up to the 41. 2nd straight game over 100 yards for Jermichael Finley, helping Aaron Rodgers' big numbers as he's trying to avoid cramping up. Rodgers closing in on 300 yards. He's got a touchdown and interception tonight. Jay Cutler's 12 of 20 with also a touchdown and a pick. But Green Bay's problems of last year, special teams and penalties, have been a big part of the story tonight. A blocked field goal, a punt return by Devin Hester that led to a touchdown, and then a punt return touchdown for Hester. The reason the Bears lead by 4 in this battle of the last 2 undefeateds in the NFC. Rodgers again, driver. A lot of 1st downs thrown it here on the outside to the 35.
Yeah, well, you're seeing how the Green Bay Packers, they're going empty. They're spreading the field out. They are forcing the Chicago Bears to declare their defense. You spread them sideline to sideline in the pre-snap phase. Rodgers knows exactly where he wants to go with the football. He looks left just to move people, open up that window for Donald Driver. This is when Aaron Rodgers is at his best. He loves spreading the field out, and the ball will just come out quickly.
Well, John, is this going to hurt him not having Jermichael Finley? He's out on the sideline here for a moment. Donald Lee takes over at tight end.
They still got a ton of receiving talent on the field.
Number 35, Jordy Nelson. Give him space, give him yards. 6, they couldn't pull the ball out. Danielle Manning tried. Trey Wingo has got a Sports Center right now.
Michael, thank you. Pro Football Hall of Famer George Blanda died today at the age of 83. He began his career right there in Chicago with the Bears at 49 and didn't retire until 1975. Meanwhile, let's go back to Mike Tirico.
Thank you, Trey. Blanda remembered before the game here in Chicago. Finley heading off to the locker room to be checked out. 2nd and 4. Rodgers a punt will come back underneath to Jackson. First down, 25-yard line. And you talk about, John, what this team does, sustaining drives, and they've had 2 really long ones here tonight.
Yeah, they sure have. And I'll tell you, when they check the ball down that time to Brandon Jackson, you better make sure you have your mouthpiece in, because he was hit simultaneously, how's that for a word, by 3 Chicago Bear defenders. They're going to force Green Bay to take 3 or 4, at least 5 more plays to get the ball into the end zone.
And with those hits, John, just trying to create a turnover, which they haven't been able to do yet.
Rodgers has completed 32 here tonight. We'll toss to John Kuhn out of Shippensburg University. Look at John Kuhn run for the first down and keep it going. Moving the pile all the way to the 6-yard line.
It's like a rugby scrum.
That looked like one of those old-fashioned Green Bay Packer backs. Take a look at the toss sweep right at you in your living room. He finds the lane and gets downhill. And how many Chicago Bears does it take to bring that bowling ball down?
I can hear Vince Lombardi now. There's a seal here and a seal there and an alley for John Kuhn to run into. The old Packer sweep.
Kuhn is 6 foot 250. At Shippensburg, a Division II school, he's a record setter, a fullback for his first 3 years here with Green Bay. Played a little halfback in preseason, and because of the injury, he's got to be the number 2 guy. He's doing a nice job. Jackson's the new number 1 back. Tackled by Urlacher and Peppers, gain of about 2.
And a lot of what Green Bay does happens before the snap. They put players in motion, they reset, and they allow Aaron Rodgers to take a look at the defense and try to run or pass into optimum looks. And that time they did a nice job running the ball away from an overload. Once again, red zone defense versus one of the best red zone quarterbacks I can remember.
And don't forget the mobility of Aaron Rodgers. Very beneficial in this area of the field.
From the 6, Rodgers rolls and gets rid of it. Flag, roughing the passer. Henry Melton.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 69, illegal contact to the helmet. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
And Rodgers limps off the field, maybe cramping.
Still working on there. Finley went up the tunnel earlier as he was cramping. Contact to the helmet's an automatic. Rodgers going to stay out there. Matt Flynn is the backup, 3rd-year man out of LSU. He's only played in 8 games. He did come in when Rodgers was hurt in Tampa. Other than that, it's been mostly mop-up work for Flynn, the only other quarterback the Packers have.
1st and goal, a great time for a little play-action pass. That's what Dallas hurt Chicago with last week on an early down.
Couple of inexperienced tight ends in there for Green Bay. Rodgers slow to get over there to get it to Jackson. Not much there.
Well, Rodgers limping around. He's cramping up. And, you know, sometimes you just can't get that push off. Like I said, he almost didn't make the handoff.
It's another drive, essentially taking half a quarter to get down here.
Outside of the big run by Kuhn, the Packers have not been able to run the football effectively. And, you know, this 3 yards down here, they could be 30 yards. It's hard to run the football in this area of the field.
Rodgers throws off the hands of the rookie Quarles out of Penn State. The 5th-rounder playing his first NFL game here tonight. Inactive the first 2 games. Third down coming.
Well, that's a well-thrown ball. Corliss, the rookie, had a chance for his first NFL touchdown. I thought Rodgers laid the ball in there nice, right away from coverage. You got to snatch the football away from your body. So far, we've seen the Chicago Bears and the Packers tight ends fail to make tough catches in the end zone.
Well, Rodgers having a tough time. He's really cramping up. Drive is taking half the quarter. Rodgers wants the ball. He's got it, but we have a whistle. And we have a timeout coming by Chicago. And go get Aaron Rodgers from Gatorade, Green Bay Packer training staff. Third down when we come back. You know, in the pattern, Rodgers scrambling, pumping for the pylon. Does he get in? Yes! Touchdown, Aaron Rodgers.
Talk about a great drive. Take a look at Aaron Rodgers. He told us he's going to use his mobility in the red zone. But how about selling out for your football team at the front pylon?
And we said going to break, guys, the Bears took that timeout, and they needed to because they were confused. But the benefit of it, Rodgers, who was cramping, chance to get a minute and a half, get some fluids in him, extra point knocked in by Crosby. Who knows if he's able to do that on third down without that timeout.
I doubt if he would have been able to do it, Mike.
Rushing TD finally for the Packers. It gives them the lead.
Snyder's of Hanover. Share the best at ESPNShop.com. Get all of your official NFL sideline gear at ESPNShop.com.
On this fabulous night from Chicago, our aerial coverage is brought to you by DirecTV. Aaron Rodgers' second rushing touchdown of the year gives the Packers a 3-point lead. So they finally take one of those long drives and punch it in. Johnny Knox is back deep for the kickoff. And he takes it to the 1. Slipping, able to keep his feet. Knox dives forward to the 26-yard line, back to the Rodgers run.
Well, Jermichael Finley is not in a game. This is Donald Lee, and that's where Aaron Rodgers wants to throw against bump and run coverage. He clearly looks left, and Lee doesn't get it done, so off to the races goes Aaron Rodgers. And how about this? Rodgers, that quarterback, he's going to look left. He wants to throw it to Donald Lee. Lee gets covered. Off Rodgers goes. He's cramping. Peppers is chasing him. It's 3rd and goal. Super effort and great finish for the Green Bay Packers to answer a score with one of their own.
This is only the second offensive possession of the half for the Bears. Cutler hit by Matthews, throws an interception. Nick Barnett gets it as the pressure came. Roughing the passer. Didn't see the flag.
Number 58, illegal contact with the helmet. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Cutler got rocked on the play. That's why he threw the interception to Clay Matthews. You'll see it here. He takes a shot right here. As you'll see, Matthews comes against Kevin Schaefer, working. You see Matthews right there. But boy, the quarterback Cutler took a shot.
The personal foul will take it out to the 41-yard line. Get you back to the hit, Jaws.
Yeah, you'll see it right here as Cutler's looking downfield. He's got that deep dig open, but there's the helmet right under the chin. Absolutely the correct call.
Matthews held off by Schaefer that time, and the pass was incomplete for Hester out of his arms.
You know, rookie Frank Zombo making a key mistake there, roughing the passer. But veteran right tackle Kevin Schaefer has done an excellent job tonight against Clay Matthews. These are back-to-back plays. He's setting on the power rush by Matthews. Schaefer's stepped in and done a nice job tonight, given all the injuries and guys playing different positions on his Bear offensive line.
He's usually the third tackle. Frank Omiel was the right tackle starting the first game and in Dallas. But Chris Williams got hurt. Omiel flipped over to left tackle. Schaefer came in. for Forte. First down to the 44-yard line. Going for the ball, going to cost him 15. Oh, yeah. $15 yards, 15th flag.
Mike McCarthy can't believe it. I mean, for the life of me, I don't know what Green Bay's thinking right here. Sure, they're going for the strip, but I heard the whistle. I think the referee calls as a whistle. Forward progress was done.
Defense number 36 threw the runner to the ground after the play was over. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Either Nick didn't hear the whistle, he just made an aggressive mistake there. But Mike McCarthy, 15 penalties tonight.
You'll see it right here. Nick Collins, this play's over with. You see the referee, hand up, play's over, done. Nick Collins throws him to the ground. He'll call that every time.
Gain plus flag with 30-yard pickup for the Bears. Away from Matthews. Cutler got it to Olsen, who's got a lot of room. Greg Olsen takes it to the 13-yard line. Both quarterbacks showing their ability to move in the pocket. Very effective tonight.
Yeah, this is personal. You know, Jay Cutler, he's going up against Aaron Rodgers. He's trying to make a play. You'll see Clay Matthews. Here he is against Kevin Schaefer. Wins to the inside, but good mobility by Cutler. Gets the ball out of his hand. But you'll see Matthews. He wins quick on Schaefer there. But here's the awareness. Know where your people are. Have an answer. Look at the eyes.
Jay Cutler. I can't say enough about his toughness and poise in the pocket.
Bears trying to answer and take the lead. Matthews coming. Pass knocked down and incomplete. Clay Matthews, son of Clay Matthews, great linebacker in the NFL for 19 years. His uncle Bruce Matthews, Hall of Fame offensive lineman in the league for 19 years. This was a guy who only became a starter towards the end of his career at USC, rocketed up to be a first-round pick. NFL great defensive rookie performance last year with 10 sacks, made the Pro Bowl, 3 sacks each of the first 2 games, and some pressures here tonight, but no sacks.
Well, if he's going to make a sack, he's going to need one shortly.
Tossing Forte. Matthews helped force that deeper, and Tramon Williams escorts him to the sideline.
This guy, Clay Matthews, what a play here, setting the edge. That's what you want your defenders to do. These outside linebackers, they run a toss sweep right at him, and he sets the edge. He keeps his outside arm free. He forces the ball back up inside. Clay Matthews, he has first-round talent, but he has a chip on his shoulder like an undrafted free agent, and that combination makes him special.
This is 3rd and 12 in field goal range, and a field goal will tie the game, so you cannot make a mistake down here. Cutler complete to Bennett. It's going to be down at the 8 and set up about a 25 or 6-yard field goal to square the game.
Well, Earl Bennett caught that ball. If I was Earl Bennett, knowing the way that this defense is flying around, I would tuck that ball away. He took some shots. Fortunately, he didn't fumble setting up this field goal attempt.
Yeah, but penalties hurt Green Bay right there. 2 personal fouls. That's 30 yards in penalties that put the Chicago Bears on the map on this drive.
Cullen Jenkins of the Packers sitting down on the field, shaken up. And now coming off. Jenkins playing with a broken left hand, happened against the Eagles. It got casted and bandaged, and he came out and still played in the second half of that one. This Packer defense without Johnny Jolly, Justin Harrell. Jolly out for the year. Harrell tore his ACL trying to block a field goal. Mike Neal, their rookie, has been injured, so they are very thin on the defensive front. One of the most accurate kickers in league history. Missed earlier from 49. From 25, Robbie Gould squares the game at 17. The last 2 years we've been here for a division game, we've had overtime. Let's go for 3. Matt Millen have you covered here after the game. While that Bears drive was going on toward the end of it, we saw Jermichael Finley run back out to the sideline. We'll see if he comes in after this kickoff. Jordy Nelson takes it on the run at the 6. It's back up the middle, and Nelson down at the 25, where Rodgers and the Packers will take over with all their timeouts. 3:52 left in an all-even game. Hunt back the distance. And just for good measure, since it's against the Packers, no Lambeau Leap. How about a Bears bounce into the stands of the south end of Soldier Field?
And Jermichael Finley is back in the lineup at tight end for Green Bay.
Got an IV in the locker room after cramping up. He's over 100 yards for the second straight game. Rodgers, quick game. Jordy Nelson, 2 tackles missed. Lance Briggs did not. Gain of 6.
Well, Green Bay's got plenty of time. They've got all their timeouts left. They've got to concentrate on making first downs. No negative plays. They must eliminate the penalties. But clearly Green Bay is going to multiple receiver sets, no back offense, which is what they've done throughout the second half, and let Aaron Rodgers see, react, and deliver.
Four-man rush gives Rodgers a lane to run. Chased from behind, but he accelerates past Urlacher to the 46. First down. Complete game.
This guy's a complete quarterback. I mean, they have all these formations, personnel groupings, progressions. Nobody's open. I got cramping going on. I scramble. I'm diving for touchdowns, first downs. Aaron Rodgers. What a performance tonight.
He's taking the Chicago Bears out of the coverage scheme that they're comfortable with. That cover 2, he's making plays with his legs, and they go to that pure zone.
Peppers held at bay. Rodgers just gets rid of it. Says, I got a receiver over there, although I don't see anybody over there. And now they'll talk about it. It will be intentional grounding. Didn't leave the tackle box.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 12. Ball he places the spot of the foul. Loss of down.
Yeah,
Second
there's
down.
Quick pressure on Aaron Rodgers right here. And he just slings this away, but he is clearly not outside the tackle box. You're going to get that called against him. One of the few mistakes Aaron Rodgers has made tonight.
First 2 games, Green Bay, 8 penalties. Tonight, 16. They doubled it.
I think right now here on 2nd and 20, Aaron Rodgers is going to work hard to get an 8 to 10 yard gain and give him a chance with a normal third down situations. But you don't want to hold the ball for very long against this Bear pass rush right now in this noise.
Complete to James Jones. Lost the football. Still in bounds. Bear ball. Tim Jennings knocked it away. And comes up with the recovery. How did that thing stay in bounds? Did it?
Well, we'll see right here.
It's Briggs and Urlacher chasing the ball. Those 2 guys
clearly in bounds.
Look at Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher. That's what they do. Since Lovie Smith got here in 2004, nobody has caused more turnovers than the Chicago Bears.
There's conversation going on here with the officials, guys, at midfield as you look at these replays.
Well, I don't know what the conversation would be about.
And the decision is Packer ball.
Clearly a fumble. Just an outstanding play by both linebackers for the Chicago Bears. And talk about a linebacker tandem joint of the hip. Those guys are all over the field.
You see 2 guys, they came from the opposite side of the field. It's just effort. And it's just nonstop passion to the football when they talk about Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs. Who says those 2 guys are slowing down?
Looks like Mike McCarthy's challenging this. From our angle, I don't know why.
Now, the call on the field was important because the Bears didn't have any challenges left.
Covering player was out of bounds when he recovered it.
So was Jennings. This was watching as the replay happened, as you guys were talking about the strip. As Jennings comes back to get it, Where is he? Clearly inbounds as that foot swings back around. Yep. Challenged by Green Bay. Don't think they'll win it.
Swing, batter, batter, batter.
After receptions have been a hallmark of the Bears under Lovie Smith, Urlacher and Briggs. A great combo together. 88th career start. Looks like they forced another one. Here's Terry McAuley.
After review, the recovering player never went out of bounds. He recovered the ball inbounds. The ruling on the field is confirmed. Green Bay has charged their first team timeout.
That becomes an important part of this. If the Bears score, that takes a timeout away from the Packers if they need to go back and respond. So the Bears take over at the Packer 46 with one timeout, 2:18 left.
And the Bears go empty, no backs in the backfield. What an aggressive game.
Backpedaling Cutler, not on the same page as Knox, incomplete. Let's go back to the turnover.
Just watch where Briggs and Urlacher come from to make this play. Look at these two inside linebackers and what they do when the ball is thrown. This is called a pursuit drill. When the ball is thrown, pursue and get on the ball carrier. But what an effort by the Chicago Bears captain, Brian Urlacher, and his loyal assistant, Lance Briggs. Those two guys,
I like that.
88 games together. Wow.
James Jones, the fourth-year man out of San Jose State, hoping his turnover isn't the difference. Pressure up the middle. Cutler gets away. There's a holding flag. Coming, an interception, and then fumbled. Let's see if it's ruled a pick and a fumble. Now they're coming in and saying incomplete. On the far side, they had it marked as a catch and a fumble. Over here, the ruling is incomplete. We've got a holding flag back in the backfield.
Holding, offense number 57, 10-yard penalty, second down. The pass was ruled incomplete.
It's the center, Olin Kreutz, who is busting up the middle.
Well,
trying to stop the blitz up the middle.
Green Bay is into that psycho package. Again, they have one defensive lineman and 5 linebackers. They're trying to get their best pass rushers on the field. Take a look at Kreutz, the center right here. He's going to hold coming in on your left side. There you see it. You don't see it all that great, but boy, Chicago had a great opportunity with that field position. They continue to come out with this no-back set.
Second and 20, Cutler down the middle. Olsen, the tight end, goes up to get it with a marker down. He's down at the 35. That's a 2-minute warning.
Now, once again, Jay Cutler taking a chance, going to a guy that he trusts.
Pass interference, defense number 54. Penalties decline, first down.
Giving his receiver, Olsen, a chance to make a play. Lays it up. Olsen makes the grab over Chiller.
With the 2-minute warning, the Bears get to the edge of long field goal range. 9 left in our game's tied at 17.
Might want to see a running play here.
No, this is
use a little
NFL.
clock, force Green Bay to use their timeouts, but clock management here. You don't want to throw the ball every play and give Green Bay a full resource of clock and timeouts.
The only runs have been quarterback scrambles.
From the 35, they'll run it with Johnny Knox on the end coming around and only gained 2 yards. Matthews the tackle. Packers stop the clock here with 1:51 to go. One timeout left Green Bay. Be right back here in Chicago. Robbie Gould has 8 game-winning kicks, 5 in overtime, 6 of them happening here at Soldier Field. He's not a great long kicker. Very accurate, but accurate for about 45 in. Doesn't attempt many 50-plus yarders. Second and 8, Woodson and Matthews coming. The pass is in the air. It is intercepted, but a flag is thrown, likely for pass interference. Morgan Burnett, the rookie over there, as Collins came away with the pick.
Pass interference, defense number 42. Automatic, first down.
17 penalties ties the all-time Green Bay Packer record that has stood for 55 years.
Well, you'll see it here. The ball's thrown to Earl Bennett. Underthrown, and this is what you get. You get Burnett clutching him, grabbing him. That'll be called every single time. The underthrow works for the Bears.
And Nick Collins showed great range, reading the quarterback, made a heck of a play. But we've seen mistakes today by Zombo, who roughed the passer. You see a pass interference by Burnett. And that's what happens when you play a lot of rookies extended periods of time in big games.
First and goal from the 9. Green Bay can only stop it one time. Bears can use most of the clock. A run with Forte to the 5, to the 3-yard line.
You've seen this situation before. At times, you'll let the other team score.
That's right. That's your only shot. They kick a field goal with no time left.
It's one of those where you think, at least for a second, do you let him score? Since it's such a short field goal at this point, it's the only way you're really going to give yourself a chance. Let him score.
Well, I saw the Raiders miss one yesterday. You saw the Saints miss one. There are no automatics in the kicking game, but when you have Aaron Rodgers, you might want to give him a shot.
Forte in the back, Cutler milking the clock. Final minute. Forte, left side. Right at the 1-yard line. Now McCarthy will stop it here with 53 seconds on 3rd and goal.
Well, right now, the field goal would be shorter than an extra point.
Yeah, and then the play here, since Green Bay's exhausted their timeouts, your play runs about 5 seconds. If it's inbounds, assuming there's no mental error there, you get the automatic 40-second clock reset at 48, brings you down to about 9 seconds when you call timeout. So you'd be leaving them 5 seconds unless they score.
17 penalties on the Packers. Wow.
If you take this times 2, one way to avoid letting them score is take a knee, but you'd always think you just take a touchdown if they're going to give it to you.
Well, Chicago's goal line offense, that might be the best thing.
3rd and goal. Forte not going to get in there. Woodson couldn't get to the ball. The clock is reset here at 48. So it's going to take it down to about 8 seconds. Lovie Smith will burn his last timeout after they milk it, and it'll be up to Gold with an extra point-size field goal for the lead.
This is where you look to your special teams coach and you get every available big man you have. You know the Bears are not going to fake it. It's an all-out block attempt. I'd go Jermichael Finley. I'd get the biggest, tallest, most athletic guys I have and put the all-out block on. That's your only chance.
Well, it has been a night where special teams and penalties, the problems of the Packers last year, have been the story for Green Bay. They returned by Devin Hester that set up 1 touchdown. They returned for a touchdown. The blocked field goal by Julius Peppers. And the penalties, 17 of them. Most penalties in more than a half-century against the Packers that happened against the Boston Yanks. Tell you how long ago and how far it's been since it's happened. 11 of those penalties in the second half. And now Robbie Gould out of Penn State. Only Nate Kading, Mike Vanderjagt are more accurate kickers in NFL history. From 19 yards for the lead. Bears lead. There's certain teams in certain sports, when they're good, it's good for the game.
Yep.
And Chicago and the Bears, and when you're a little kid around here, you learn bear down Chicago Bears, and it's Looking like the Bears are going to be the last of the undefeateds in the NFC at 3-0 with 4 seconds remaining in the game.
Have there been 180 meetings between these two teams?
This is 180.
Have they all been like this?
No. Now, what do you do here?
Well, I get 4
Charles
seconds
left
on the field.
That's
I go
right.
to him.
Well,
and I say, make a play. Green Bay will have something, a gadget for this play. It all starts with number 21. If I'm Chicago, I don't kick it to him either.
One of the elite return men in college football history, helped him win the Heisman at Michigan during his early days here in the NFL. Jordy Nelson will get it. It'll lateral around in all likelihood. Here goes Nelson throwing it back to Woodson. At the 16, Woodson tried to keep it alive, getting it over to Donald Driver, who goes across the field. A flag is down for a forward pass. James Jones throws it back. Not whistled dead yet. It's back at the 6 with Jennings, who sends it back to Tramon Williams. Again, a flag is down from earlier as Williams comes up the field, looks for somebody else to find. His pass across the field is another forward pass to Jennings, so the hat's down. And once it comes down, the game's over.
On the receiving team, by rule, the game is over with a foul.
Bears 20, Packers 17. And the two faces of these franchises who have become friends. Rodgers got both last year. Cutler gets this one. And they'll see each other on the 2nd day of January at Lambeau Field. On Gold's game-winning kick. See all the leaping. That's Clay Matthews. Susie Colbert downstairs with Jay Cutler.
Well, Jay, what's it like for a quarterback to lead a game-winning drive in a game of this magnitude?
It's fun. You know, that's all you can ask for. Defense did a great job. We struggled, I felt like the whole game, just kind of killing ourselves, missing some big plays. So, you know, came up big at the end. Defense did a great job all night.
You and Aaron Rodgers, good friends. You finally get the best of him. What did you say?
Yeah, Aaron's a competitor. He's a great player. Going to have a great year. You know, we got that fumble, or you know, he's tough to stop. So, got to give credit to our defense, and hopefully we get another good one up at their place in the year.
What did you just say to him?
You know, just told him good game. I got a lot of respect for him. I know he does for me as well. So, hopefully it's going to be a competitive rivalry for a long time.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The undefeated Bears go to the new Meadowlands to take on the reeling Giants. Julius Peppers and company set sight on Eli Manning. The Packers go back to Lambeau to take on the Detroit Lions. The 5th game this weekend in the NFL where the winner was outgained by 100 yards. It ended up with the most points. 3 unbeatens left in the NFL. The Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Bears. SportsCenter's coming up next. Full post-game recap here. Final score, Bears 20, Packers 17. With John Gruden, Ron Jaworski, Susie Colbert, all the great women and men on our Monday Night Team. Mike Tirico, good night from Chicago. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Pats Dolphins next week.
See you next week.
Put it over the end line in one way or another, either kick some field goals. When you look back at what the defense did, Julius Peppers blocking a kick early, you know, a lot of yardage in between the stripes. There's no question about that. But when it really got down to it, was Green Bay able to push it in? And they weren't when it really counted.
I can personally say I think all 3 phases. You look at the penalties we forced on their special teams units. Hester takes a punt return back 62 yards for a touchdown. Offense gritty enough to get it in the end zone when they need to get in the end zone, and the defense getting the stops when they need it. That is a total team effort by the Chicago Bears.
No question about it. I think it was a total team effort, but I think you still have to give a lot of credit to what the defense was able to do at critical points in this game. Forcing the turnovers was huge for this team, kept them involved.
And they did it against Aaron Rodgers, who, guys, at times tonight looked like one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the National Football League, certainly in the NFC. And no offense to Drew Brees when we say that.
No, he's no secret anymore. I mean, everybody knows this guy can play the game. And I don't think that they knew quite to that level, though. I think this tonight served notice to the rest of the folks around the NFL, this guy's serious, and he has to be taken that way.
No, I think when you look at Aaron Rodgers, this guy's an offensive juggernaut now. I have never seen mechanics from a quarterback that tight, his timing and precision on passes. And for the Bears defense, give him credit because it's bend but don't break, because you really realistically cannot have a pass rush against him. He is that good at getting rid of the football. They did just enough to cause him to get off kilter on a few plays, but, man, that kid is something special.
You talk about making a team one-dimensional in Green Bay, knowing that they weren't going to be able to run the football with any effectiveness, but still, with his ability to drop back into the pocket, really decipher what defenses are trying to do to him, finding the open receiver, particularly over the slot receiver, really allowed this team to keep moving the ball without a running game.
Well, you know, the interesting thing was, too, is we talked about last week in the Dallas game and how Mike Martz made the adjustments of the three-step drops and all the rest of that. If you watch Green Bay tonight, they varied their drops so much that when they were starting to get pressure from the Bears defensive line, we saw the quick slants, getting rid of the football quick. All of a sudden, that getting up off the football doesn't really mean anything, because that's when you like to be able to stand up on that offensive lineman and put your hands up and maybe block one of those passes. But they varied it so much that you really couldn't get a fix on it.
We got a lot to get to over the next 90 minutes. The Peppers effect, how Jay Cutler battled in this game. The turnovers once again coming through. And you guys talked about special teams. Best we've seen this special teams unit play in a long time. We invite you to get interactive with the show. Go to csnchicago.com, click on the Bears postgame live icon, submit a question or comment. Some of those comments are appearing at the bottom of your screen right now. Time now for the McDonald's Angus Third Pounder Player of the Game. Each week we want you to vote on who you think the Bears Player of the Game is. Log on to csnchicago.com to cast your vote. This week's choices: A, Julius Peppers; B, Devin Hester; Jay Cutler; or Brian Urlacher. Bears Postgame Live is brought to you in part by McDonald's of Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. Visit csnchicago.com after every game. Vote away on your McDonald's Angus Third Pounder Player of the Game. We'll have the results coming up later in the show. We're awaiting Lovie Smith and Jay Cutler at Soldier Field, but let's get this thing going with our opening kickoff. And for that, we begin with Dan Jiggins.
All right, I'm going to go back to this, and I'll keep saying it and saying it and saying it. I want to know who it was on the Bears that said this is just another game. I have a feeling that, at this point they probably have a little bit different feeling about it, because certainly it was a different kind of football being played out there in Soldier Field this evening.
Well, you got the throwback unis. That's right. That's the monsters of Midway. You look at the Bears, a lot of passion tonight, offensively, defensively. What Devin Hester did on the special teams, Lovie Smith may have tagged this team right. Take it back to the days of the glory back in the monsters of the Midway. Great effort tonight.
Julius Peppers is not a doubt in my mind. He's worth every penny of it. When you look at the holding calls he was able to get, when you look at what he did in special teams with the block kick, he really changes what an offensive line has to do. Having to turn the protection to him, when you have a player that dominant up front, it's an opportunity really for some other guys to truly step up and make plays.
And the other thing is, Pat, you look at the linebackers, and I know there were some questions as to whether or not these linebackers were getting a little old. People were looking at Brian Urlacher and thinking maybe he's getting a little long in the tooth, and looking at Lance Briggs and say, well, okay, 5 Pro Bowls, but is he maybe, tailing off a little bit? I tell you what, if you watch the way that they played tonight, it was tremendous football being played by those guys. And you throw in a Julius Peppers, and I'm telling you, it was awesome. Julius Peppers, I think, was responsible for about 5 or 6 penalties on the part of the Green Bay Packers. Boy, I tell you what, they were married to those flags tonight.
And guys, we talk about the long drives that the Green Bay Packers, time of possession, 35-45 to 24-11. Yeah. 35 minutes, the Packers. And when you're defense and you're on the field all that time, advantage offense, because they know where they're going. They know what they're doing and let's face it, they couldn't run the ball tonight. So we pretty much knew, everybody in the house knew they were going to throw the ball. And you talked about the aging linebackers. You talk about a secondary that changed things up. We saw Tim Jennings out there instead of Zach Bowman. We saw some changes at the safety spot. And time and again, it would be a 7, 8, 9, 12-play drive for the Packers, and the Bears' defense stood tall.
I think one of the things that's key here, you talk about when you go on a drive like that, the defensive line gets tired a lot. You saw Mark Anderson rolling in, Israel Donijay really rolling in there, making plays happen. So they were keeping guys fresh, but they were continuing to get pressure on the quarterback and made plays when they needed to, really.
I think for me, I just can't believe how resilient the Bears defense is, because we talk about bend but don't break, and that's what they did today. They almost had to, because again, it's tough to get a pass rush on Aaron Rodgers because he's so efficient with the football. Let him get down to the red zone. Then you saw the 12th defender again, be it the shortening of space that really seemed to slow down the Packers a little bit. So I give credit to one, Rusty Jones, who works these guys out to keep them in condition, because this defense over and over again answers the bell.
Well, you know, there's something that Buddy Ryan, who used to be a defensive coordinator here, great defensive coordinator with the Bears, Buddy used to say something about playing between the stripes. You play between the 20s all you want, and that's where all of that time of possession comes from. But when it really gets down to it, what do you do when you get down to the red zone? We saw last year with the Bears, if you're not effective when you get down to the red zone, what happens with all the rest of that is exercise. That's all you're doing, is getting a great workout. When you get down to the red zone, that's where it pays off.
And what turned this ball game around just before the half? Devin Hester, 28-yard punt return after he was dancing coming out of the timeout. And that led to the Cutler to Olsen 9-yard touchdown. You had Devin Hester's, of course, 62-yard punt return. And you also had Peppers blocking the field goal. Dave Tobes, special teams unit, by far their best effort of the season.
No doubt about it. I mean, and coming off of the last couple of games, they really hadn't given him the kind of look that he was really looking for. I'm sure he felt like they came up a little bit short. And there's no question about that. When Dallas ran, they had the punt return for a touchdown. That's the kind of thing that breaks your heart if you're a special teams guy. So they came back out and made a statement in this ball game, a couple of different statements, and they made a huge difference in the outcome.
We take a look at what Devin Hester has been able to do as far as the special teams game. You know, a lot of us question whether or not putting him, at punt returner was going to hurt him or stunt his growth as a wide receiver. At times we question whether or not he should even be a wide receiver. Let him do what he has done best, certainly through the 2007 season. Here, are his numbers on Monday night. Of course, he had that huge game against the Arizona Cardinals in the Super Bowl year. But do you like what Devin Hester has been able to do as far as juggling both of these duties, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I like what he's doing. And here's the other thing you have to keep in mind. As an athlete playing, as you continue to grow as a football player, you just don't want to be known as a special teams guy. It's not just him. He wants to be a receiver as well and wants to be the best at his job. So when you talk about him being moved from taking off special teams and wanting to focus more on the receiver position, it's just a natural growth process, I believe, as a player, a young player coming up through the league.
Well, I'll tell you what, you get this guy in space. We always talk about the cliches. He can do something dangerous. Here's what I think is interesting. Here we question Lovie Smith going for it on 4th down. 2 ball games now? The Packer fans ought to be questioning Mike McCarthy right now. Why in the heck are you kicking to that guy? Why are you punting the ball to him? Twice Devin Hester really took the game. They had the worst special teams in the league last year.
There might be a new punter in Green Bay.
Well, he outkicked the coverage on the punt return.
Right, the one that he took the back.
There certainly was a line drive on the first one in the second quarter.
It looked like a pass.
Yes. Well, let's talk about that fourth and goal. I went around the room as the decision was made in the third quarter, said, what would you do? And every one of you said, I'd kick the field goal.
Tie the game up. Yep.
Do you still feel that way? I mean, obviously that field possession in turn led to the opportunity for Devin Hester to return it back, but
I didn't know that at that time. I didn't know that. I didn't know that Tauscher was going to go and get like 3 penalties in a row. Yeah, keep backing him up. But no, I would have kicked the field goal there and just taken, tied the ball game up and see what happens after that. Because I tell you what, Aaron Rodgers and the way that he was moving the rock was kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, Lovie can say he believes in his defense, and it shows its worth today. He should have tremendous confidence, and I know those guys know that they have confidence, that Lovie has confidence in him. But I'll tell you what, you have the opportunity to tie up the game.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a no-brainer.
Jay Cutler's numbers, Howard, 16 of 27, 221 yards, a touchdown and interception, a quarterback rating of 82.5. Those aren't going to win any fantasy league. They're not going to jump off the sports page. But what this guy did tonight was far beyond these numbers. Gritty, gutty, running for first downs, and taking hits certainly early in the game, just like he did in that Dallas game a week ago.
Ultimately, the numbers that no one will really discuss are those rushing yards, and I think that's an important part of what he was able to do, really making a decision to run for the first down as opposed to try to throw it, stick it in somewhere with that strong arm that he has. He was able to make things happen with his feet, and that's, you talk about growth as a quarterback, that's what you want to see.
Lovie is addressing the media. Let's go live to Soldier Field and hear from the head coach of the Chicago Bears.
With the Packers is a great rivalry game. Most of them end up going right down until the end like that one. Thought our guys just played hard for 60 minutes. Notice an old, that's coach talk, but they did. We got off to a rough start. They had momentum early on, but the guys just kept fighting through. Offensively, we hung in there. They got some pressure early, and we knew coming in that their front seven was pretty good, but we got our passing game going. Greg Olsen, of course, Devin Hester, Johnny Knox, all of the guys contributed and made big plays. Running game-wise, we didn't do as much as we would like, but some nights the run just doesn't work. You have to rely on the pass, and of course we did that. We protected the football well. I think we had one turnover. Normally we win that turnover ratio, which we did tonight, you win the football game. Defensive side of the ball, the guys hung in there. We need to be able to get the quarterback down, but Aaron Rodgers is a good player. It's hard to get him down. Kept the ball in front of us for the most part, most of the game, and came through with a big takeaway at the end, which we needed. I think Brian Urlacher knocked the ball out, and Tim Jennings, really made a big play of keeping it in bounds. He gave us a boost there at the cornerback position too. We talk about all three phases, and been waiting for Devin to come back, and he was back tonight. Of course, he was outstanding on that one touchdown run, but even before that, just felt like every time he went back there, he had a chance to score. We're tough when we have all three phases working like that. So we're 3-0 right now. Feel real good about that. I think we're the only NFC team that's undefeated. Getting ready for a tough game, of course, going to New York this week. Injury-wise, came out of the game in pretty good shape. Hopefully some of the injured guys that we have will, come back next week. Your question?
Was the season going Jennings there? Was that just part of the plan, or was that take it over?
Part of the plan, well, yeah, the plan as a game was playing out. Just felt like we needed to get, have a different look there. Wasn't pleased with how we started the football game out at that position, and Tim Jennings has been practicing hard. We have a lot of confidence in him. Just felt like it was time to give him a shot. He played outstanding ball.
Lovie, how did Kevin Schaefer play specifically against Clay Matthews? Seemed like he had a
I thought he hung in there against a great player. Line as a whole, I did that. So, without looking at the video in detail right now, I feel like he, went in and did a pretty good job.
Lovie, what do you think the defining characteristic of this team is for 3 games?
I don't think you can, it's hard to say after 3 games. I just know that, that they're laying in a line. They're physical. Tonight when we honor, old monsters of the Midway, it's just good to see a team that just, plays 60 minutes of ball. When you're down a little bit, you have a chance to show your character. Great leadership on our football team, and the guys just weren't going to be denied. So we're still, it's early in the season still. Want to finish up this first quarter, of course, on a high note.
Lovie, can you talk about your decision to make Tommy inactive tonight?
As far as how would you like for me to talk about it? You have 45. I will. We have 45 guys that you can go with. We have everybody healthy right now. Just felt like we wanted to get a look at Marcus Harrison and Henry Melton inside a little bit. Just performance-based.
It wasn't disciplinary at all?
No. Tommy has been doing everything we've asked him to do. You have decisions. Devin Marama should didn't dress tonight. We have good players on the sideline right now. One game situation. We'll go to practice next week and see who gives us the best chance to win there.
Lovie, what does it say about the bar that this team has raised in you being able to have Tommy Harrison active, DA active? You are expecting a lot more out of your players.
Yeah, yes, we are. We have a strong 53-man roster. Really 61-man roster when you talk about the practice squad guys too. We feel good about them. And the guys know each week, we can go a few different ways. It's just, which way we want to go as far as what guys we need up on that game. And then it's back to the practice field. This should make our practice be even better as we decide what happens the next week.
Look, even Jerry Angelo said on the radio that he wondered what was wrong with Devin and considered maybe taking him out of the punt return duties. How close did you come to doing that, and what clicked tonight?
Who decided to take him out of the punt return duties, you said?
Jerry had said he thought about it.
Okay. We like Devin Hester as our punt return all along. We haven't been pleased with what, with the production we've gotten from there, but you have to stay patient sometime with him. As you talk to most opponents, they'll still tell you that there's fear when Devin goes back there, and you just have to stay with him. The guys did a great job blocking for him, but again, he's back. We like seeing him back there.
Coach, on the 4th and 1 side of the goal line in the second half right at the goal line, what made you guys decide there the decision thought process into going for a pass play rather than maybe a quarterback scheme?
Well, first, just going for it on 4th down. I mean, we went for it because we thought we could get it. And if we didn't, we felt like we had them backed up. We would get the ball back. Had plenty of time to do something later on. So, and as far as going for a pass play, I mean, I thought it was a good play. We didn't execute it as well as we need to, but we're going to stay aggressive in situations like that.
Lovie, Jake Cutler again took a lot of shots tonight. Didn't seem to blink. Have you come to expect that from him?
Yes, I've come to expect Jay not blinking when he takes a shot. He's a tough guy. We like to, have him take less hits, of course, and we'll keep working on that, but that's a part of it. We played a good defense tonight. They were coming after him quite a bit, but he stood in there and made plays.
A couple more for Coach. During the final possession, were you worried that scoring too early may have given them?
Was I worried about scoring too early to possibly take the lead? No, not necessarily. We were going to try to wanted to score number one. And whenever we could, we wanted to do that. Yes, and also we would like to, we wanted to take as much time off the clock because we know that they're pretty dangerous on the other side, and thankfully it worked out that way.
Look, I know you expect all of your guys to show up on game day, but to have your big guys, Urlacher, Peppers, Hester, Cutler, all make plays, how hard are you guys to beat with all those guys do their job?
We're hard to beat, and that's what they're paid to do. We have a lot of good football players on our team, and the guys realize that. You have to, everyone knows their role. Some players are supposed to play at this level. Then we have some others that you can do a little bit more. They know that we need them to show up that way each week, and that's how it's been. We're 3-0 because our top players, our marquee players, are playing that way. Thank you.
Lovie, after the 2017 victory, his team now the lone undefeated squad in the NFC. Take a look at the Bears' defense from tonight's action. 379 yards, what they gave up, only 63 on the ground. Jay Cutler has stepped to the podium. Let's go live to Soldier Field.
We have a question,
Jay, it looked like, again, you took a few shots out there and it didn't seem to bother you. Are you just getting used to that, and does it faze you at all when you get like in the shit with the helmet?
Got a new helmet this year. It's obviously working. So, I don't know.
How did you feel about your overall performance?
No, but I didn't play very well. I thought we were out of sync, missed some throws I should have made. But I thought the defense did a great job of keeping us in there, getting some turnovers when we had to. And we made some plays when we had to make them.
Jay, what happened in, I think it was like the first series, it seemed like the offense, miscommunication, frustration.
Yeah, the headsets went out on the sideline. Mike couldn't talk to Shane, and Shane couldn't get into me. So the first play was a little bit confused with the personnel, and then, we just missed some stuff. They were moving around quite a bit. They weren't really blitzing. They were kind of dropping off. So that kind of took us by surprise. So, Mike did a great job of changing. Went empty there at the end and made some plays.
People are saying, Jay, this is a barometer game. What does this game mean in terms of
I don't know. We didn't play our best game. We won. That's got to be a good sign. Offensively, we got to get a lot better. I got to play better. Defense did a good job of keeping us in there.
Is it tough with, you guys went off the field as much as you guys?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's going to be an excuse that we can use. Devin did a great job. We were a little stagnant there on offense of returning that punt, giving us a little bit of life. We just got to get better. We just didn't play our best ball today.
It seems everyone's kind of looking for an identity here offensively. Seems like the first 3 games, not always pretty, not always consistent, but enough big plays offensively to keep you guys in games. That's the way you see it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can see it however you want. We're winning ball games. We're still learning as an offense. We played well last week, started a little shaky, turned it around. This week we had some big plays, got some big chunks, scored right before halftime, drove down at the end of the game, got the field goal. So we're doing enough to win. We can always get a little bit better, though.
What kind of a lift is Devin's return?
Huge. If we can get him going again, it's been a little bit since Devin has really been electric back there. So to get him going again like that and get him feeling it and energized, he brings a whole new dimension to a game.
How has Greg been from training camp to now buying into the system?
He's been huge. I talked to Greg as soon as Mike got here after I talked to Mike, and just tried to settle him down with the offense and tell him that, he's never had a guy like Greg. And Mike, you got to give Mike credit because he's going to use the best offensive weapons we have. And Greg is definitely at the top of the list of our weapons. So it does a lot with them, and Greg's taking advantage of it, making big catches for us.
What did the play on the goal line did? You just kind of walk us through that?
They didn't cover him, so I wanted to get it on him as fast as possible. Just got to give him a little bit better ball. Cool, next.
The easiest time Jay Cutler had all night was having to address the media here. But I guess that's what happens after you go 16-27 for 221 yards. And you're on the winning side of a great quarterback matchup. What we saw from Aaron Rodgers, especially even scrambling for that touchdown there on 3rd and goal in the 4th quarter to give Green Bay the lead. The guy can do it all. He's got some weapons, and he really doesn't have a running game.
Yeah. You ever get the feeling that Jay would rather be washing his laundry than talking to the press there?
Or out on a date or
no doubt.
Whatever. Hey, let's talk a little bit about what went on in front of Jay Cutler. Obviously, some of that confusion early on was because the headsets were out on the sidelines. That explains a little bit of that. What were you going to say there, Jim?
Well, that was part of it. And what Jay was talking about, he said they were moving around quite a bit. And I was on the scout team in Pittsburgh. I played against that defense every day, Dom Capers and Dick LeBeau. Here's 2 things they hate. They hate going on the quick count, and they hate no huddle. Because the reason why they like a lot of movement where they are moving around right before the snap, their pre-snap look and their post-snap look are 2 totally different things. And so when you go on the quick count, they have to line up in the defense they're going to line up in. And when you have that confusion that you just talked about, Pat, from the sideline, there's no headsets, things are coming in. So it probably was a little hairy for the Bears to negotiate early.
So in other words, if you come in and it's just like the Bears used to do, just come in one formation, snap the football and go. It forces their hand then defensively to declare what they're going to be running.
Yeah, you're going to see their best look, and you're going to know how to attack it.
Is that a function maybe of Martz and Capers never having matched up against one another? It's hard to believe that, too.
It is hard to believe that those 2 guys have been in the league so long. The other thing was what Dom Capers is able to do with that 3-4 defense. I mean, let's face it, this is a defense now in its 2nd year in Green Bay. They know what they're doing more so than this Martz offense. And credit what Martz was able to do with this offense, because at times, I mean, Woodson was all over the field. You didn't know if he's going to come blitzing off the corner, if he's going to make a great play in the secondary. Credit Martz and this offense for continuing to, stick with it and tweak some things and make it pay off in that second half.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit in the green room. We talked about teams not liking a lot of movement with the offense and the defense really being able to settle down. But I think when you look at what Chicago was doing early in the game, you saw a lot of shifting, a lot of motion to try to find out exactly where the blitzers are going to be coming from, because that's one thing you want to know when you're going against these 3-4 fronts. You want to try to design and understand who the guys are going to be that are going to be bringing pressure on you.
And the other thing is you try to settle down your offensive line. And again, tonight was one of those nights where there's some changes up front. We saw Jamarcus Webb in the ball game at times playing right tackle. So again, this tackle derby was going on. And credit Franco Mial again, settling in on that left side.
President of the Franco Fan Club,
I talked to him today before the game. I told him, I said, hey, that was a hell of a job that you did last week, because when you think about somebody coming in mid-game like that, switching over, that's unbelievable.
Did he slip you the 20 then? Or okay. Hey, no, you talk Schaefer and Jamarcus Webb, the job they did on Clay Matthews, Jim. I mean, you know, Matthews came in with 6 sacks. That was more than 25 teams in the National Football League.
Yeah.
And he was without a sack tonight.
And I don't think Kevin Schaefer or even when you look at Jamarcus Webb have seen more spin moves from one player the whole night. The guy is a freak of nature when you look at Clay Matthews. But again, I think as they sorted out, and Jay kind of hit on it there, they scored when they had to score, right before the half and right at the end of the game. And that's really, everything that happens in between really doesn't matter, because when you have to get it done, they got it done. So it talks about grittiness, it talks about toughness, it talks about being a Chicago Bear.
Hey, you know, it's interesting to watch that spin move that Clay Matthews is using, because I think some of those guys are still looking for it. They still haven't seen it. But back in the day, the Green Bay Packers used to have a defensive lineman. His name was Dave Roller, and that's all that Dave Roller would do was spin. And, I mean, it took him about 2 minutes to make that spin. You sit there and you look at the tape and you go, I can't believe that nobody blocked that guy. But, that, you know, that spin move was very effective at times, particularly if you get a little pressure coming from somewhere else.
We invite you to get interactive with the show. You go to csnchicago.com. You go to the Bears postgame live icon at the top of the page, and you can do what Ed did in Lake Villa. You can chime in with a question here. Who's responsible for the Bears making in-game adjustments this season?
I think one of the things you take it, you've got some coaches that are former head coaches on this roster. And I think that's key, because you have guys that have been in that situation on the offensive side of the football. And people wonder why Lovie sometimes may have had some issues in the past with game management. When you're a defensive coordinator, you have some different responsibilities. Now you had some guys over there that really understand how to maintain a game offensively, and you have a coach that really, when he was with the Rams, this was the greatest show on turf, and he understands, he's been in some of these situations to be able to make those adjustments.
And, you know, on the other side of the ball, Rod Marinelli, quiet as kept, has been the guy making the calls this year for the defense, and I haven't heard much talk about him so far.
About
in the job that he's been doing with the defense.
Yeah. No, I think he's done a very nice job. I mean, this is his first time as, a D coordinator,
well, you got to believe today that was ultimately his decision. Hey, we're not playing Tommy Harris. He doesn't deserve to start. That comes strictly from Rod Marinelli telling the head coach it's performance-based. He didn't show up this week at practice. Therefore, Marcus Harrison and Toane need to get more opportunities on the field.
Well, we just heard Lovie Smith say he was waiting for Devin Hester to come back. We saw Devin Hester come back on this night. That 62-yard punt return in the fourth quarter. Also, the 28-yard punt return that set up the score just before the half. The Windy City Flyer is standing by live with our Kip Lewis at Soldier Field. Take it away, Kip.
All right, Pat, thanks. And Devin, those guys just talking about your punt returns, a couple nice ones. But first of all, just take us through the big one, the 62-yarder for the score.
First of all, I got to give thanks to God, Second of all, I would give all the credit to the other 10 guys that was out there, because I know without those guys, I wouldn't be in the end zone. I'd probably hear talking to you on this mic, But overall, they did a good job, freeing it up. They gave me at least 2-3 holes to pick, and I picked one of the holes and seen Nick Roach going towards the punt and freed me up to the end zone.
How nice did it feel to finally get a return for a score again?
Feels great, I feel a little relief, but I'm not rejoiced because I know it's a long season and I'm a greedy type person, so I want at least 3-4 more returns.
I just asked you before we went on, just the confidence this offense has. I mean, is it something that's continuing to grow, just the way you guys continue to fight and win these games?
Yeah, most definitely. It's not only building confidence in the players, but as well as the coaches, and you see it in the locker room after the games. Coaches are very excited, and, even during the week, the enthusiasm that we have, the confidence that we have that we're capable of being a great team. We're not a great team yet. We got a long ways to go, but I feel we're marching towards it.
You guys are finding different ways to win, offense, defense, and then the special teams. Peppers gets that block there. Just talk about how your overall special teams played a role in the win.
At the end of the day, it's the reason why it's a three-phase game. You got offense, defense, and special team. And when you have those teams that don't count special teams, it's sad, But when you get a team that really count their third phase, that special team, it helps out a lot. Special team wins a lot of games, And that's the type of team we have. A great coach, Coach Dave. and the rest of the coaches, you know, on the special team unit, you know, they really harp hard on the special team unit. And when we do those type of things, you know, it helps out a lot.
Only 3 games into the season, but what does it mean for you guys to be in first place in the division at this point, having already beaten a team like Green Bay?
It feels good. You know, we know we're going to have to face them again, you know, and our biggest goal is not really sit here and over-rejoice on this one victory, you know, but we know we got a long season, and we keep our head focused and keep narrowing it down and taking it week by week, we'll turn out a pretty good team.
All right, Devin, appreciate your time. I told you if you keep having these big plays, you're just going to have to come on every week. So pretty soon I don't have to ask you. You can just walk over and just jump on the show, right?
All right, no problem.
All right, Devin Hester, guys, appreciate your time, Devin. Guys, that does it from here. Let's go back to you in the studio.
Kip, you can tell Devin will rename the show, the Devin Hester Show, if he keeps doing what he's doing with his now 4th kick return for a touchdown on Monday Night Football. One other came against Arizona. That was back in 2006, and he had 2 against the Rams in that same Super Bowl year. Only 1 catch for Devin. Johnny Knox had 4 on the night. Greg Olsen really was his safety valve a lot of times where he would check down and hit him over the middle.
Yeah, well, first let's talk about the interception, because it really was Greg Olsen and Jay Cutler not on the same page. Really, Howard and I were watching it. Single safety high. They rotated into single safety high. Normally, the tight end's got to snap it off. Jay and Greg weren't on the same page, thus the interception. But once they started getting in sync, once they started to figure out what Green Bay was doing, hey, playmakers, you got to call plays to allow them to make plays. And you give Mike Martz credit, because come the second half, when they came out the third quarter, he dialed up plays to Greg Olsen, who's been the playmaker.
You look at some of the critical things that happen, though, during the course of a game, like the Bears scoring right before the half. Think about how critical that was. So you go into that, you know, to the locker room with a pretty good feeling.
Yes.
You're only down by 3 instead of being down by 10. That's a huge difference, you know. So all of those little things start adding up at some point or another during the course of the game.
And I think that's really what the great thing is about what this performance was all about tonight. It was a total team effort, but also it was some highs and lows. This wasn't a complete domination, as we know by the score and watching the game, but it's played. Each play is important. You never know what's going to happen. So if you play it as hard as you can each time, some good things will happen at the end, and some definitely things happen at the end of the game.
Boy, and I tell you what, the other thing is in the defensive side, there's no question about them practicing stripping the football. Man, does that work. Because you never realize how many times during the course of a game guys get a little sloppy with the ball, and all it takes is one guy to take that punch and knock it out.
I think we all agree the guy that has certainly earned every penny that the Bears put out on a plate for him in the offseason is standing by with our Kip Lewis, as he has Julius Peppers. Take it away, Kip.
All right, Pat, thanks. You know, Julius, we talk about you in the defensive line, getting pressure, getting sacks. But first of all, let's start with a big special teams play, blocking that field goal. Take us through that play.
It was an inside push. Me, Izzy, and Matt. We got good push inside. We had the linebackers help us out. You know, they gave us a push from the back, and it was great penetration on the inside. I was able to slide through and get my hands on it.
Talk about getting after, you know, sort of containing this Green Bay offense today. Obviously, you guys knew you had a big challenge coming into this game.
Right, yeah. It was a big challenge, huge challenge, actually. You know, we know those guys are great on offense and defense. We know Aaron is top of the league as far as quarterback. So we were really, we're really glad we were able to contain him somewhat and, you know, rattle him a little bit to get him to have happy feet in that pocket.
Tommy Harris was inactive for this game. How did that affect you guys' play, if at all?
I think we did well without him. You know, we don't want to play without him. You know, but like I don't really have any information on that situation. You know, as far as I know, when I came in, he wasn't playing. So, you know, we got to roll with what we got when we go out on the field.
Let me ask you this: the last 2 games, the Dallas Cowboys offense, the Green Bay Packers offense, 2 teams a lot of people at the beginning of this season said those are Super Bowl caliber offenses. What does it say about you guys as a defense, having stopped and beaten both those teams?
It says that we're really good, which we knew all along. We don't want to be boastful and brag about it. We don't want to put a bullseye on our back and be out there saying we're the best, but you know, that's what we feel like. We feel like we are the best, and you know, as long as you believe in yourself, then you know, it allows you to play like that.
Hold on a second. The guys in the studio want to ask you guys a question. Pat, go ahead. Julius can hear you guys out here.
Well, Julius, this is Dan Jacobs. I was just wondering now, you're doing the Clark Kent thing now. You put the glasses on, put the Superman cape away. Is that what the deal is?
Nah, it's just a look for the day. It's just a game time look for the day.
Hey, you know what? You had to feel bad for Tauscher after a while. You had him with the yips, man. He looked like a guy.
No, we don't feel bad for Tauscher.
He looked like a guy that couldn't hit a putt from about 2 inches away after a while, because every time you'd flinch a little bit, he would just jump up out of his stance. That had to be a lot of fun. You got him backed up there pretty good, and that actually ended up making such a huge difference, that series, when you look at what happened at the end of the first half.
Yeah, we got the O-line, we got Aaron a little bit rattled, we got a little bit of pressure. We didn't get as many hits or get any sacks as we wanted to, but I think as far as putting pressure on them, I think we did a solid job in that area. But you know, those guys are decent. Tauscher and Clifton, you know, they've been doing it for a while, and they do it pretty good.
Well, Jim Miller here. Good to talk to you, Julius, and congratulations on the victory. I guess my question would be, hey, that's 45 pass rushes today. My friend. I mean, and this is a very efficient group. When you look at Aaron Rodgers, how he gets the ball out of his hand, how were you guys as a defensive line in general, how were you able to really know when, hey, we really got to bring it hard this one, and then other ones, hey, we know it's a quick drop. Let's not expend all our energy just on this one play.
We want to rush. We want to rush hard as we can every play, no matter if we know he's throwing a quick game or not. We got a good rotation of guys that can come in and fill in for us, so we want to get after them every play, but there are times that we know when they go empty with no running backs, they're throwing the ball. So we just got to make sure we try to get our hands up and get the ball batted down when they do that.
Hey, Julius, real quick, were you nicked up a little bit during the course of the game? We say you're limping on the sideline at one time. What happened to you there?
Just bumped knees. Yeah, that was it. Just bumped knees. A little painful for a couple minutes, but that was it.
All right, Julius, we want to appreciate you coming on the big show. Your first post-game live show. Now, I expect you back. I told Hester, I said, if he keeps making big plays, he has to come on. And, you know, maybe you can just ask these guys some questions in the studio as long as you come back on the show.
Yeah, I'll be back, hopefully, yeah. I'll be back.
All right, Julius Peppers, guys, appreciate your time. That does it for me. Let's go back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Kip, thank you very much. Then into the phone booth and
exactly right. I'm telling you, man,
takes the cape off, right?
Wouldn't know if you're walking down the street.
Hey,
right?
I'll tell you what, he's been Superman on that defense thus far. As we head to break, let's check out our U.S. Cellular poll question. It is: the Bears are the lone unbeaten team in the NFC. Are they the best? Yes, no, or the jury's still out. Log on to csnchicago.com. Go to the Bears page, vote away. Plus, send us your thoughts on tonight's game. We'll have the results and your thoughts at the bottom of our screen throughout the rest of U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live. Back on U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live with the 2017 Bears victory on Monday Night Football. Here's a look at Aaron Rodgers now. Last year against the Bears and tonight, there you can see he's thrown for over 670 yards, but only one touchdown in 2 meetings last year, and one touchdown tonight and an interception. Certainly hurt by the team record tying 17 penalties that the Packers committed on this night. Rodgers addressed the media a short time ago at Soldier Field. Let's listen in.
Yeah, it's disappointing. You know, it's uncharacteristic game for us on offense. I think we, well, just as a team, way too many penalties. You know, got into a rhythm there in the second half. Really second quarter, second half, moved the ball well, spread them out, did some good things, but you know, field position and penalties hurt us tonight.
Are you going to attribute all those penalties to, I think it's a team record, the number of penalties?
Well, you got to give, you know, their crowd some credit. They were loud tonight. You know, we had a couple back-to-back penalties on the 1 yard line there because of the noise, and I'm screaming as loud as I can at times, and it's very uncharacteristic, though, for our guys to have that many penalties.
Aaron, can you take us to that last drive? What you guys are trying to do?
Yeah, just trying to get in field goal range, and you know, fortunately, had a call which, under those circumstances, you know, it was tough. Not a great throwaway option. I felt like I got it in Donald's vicinity, although he never looked back for the ball. Needless to say, you know, we were going to have a 3rd and 7 probably, and with a good chance of converting the way we were moving the ball. And unfortunately, we had a turnover.
Rodgers and the Packers suffer their first loss on the year coming up. Urlacher and Briggs, they teamed up to force the fumble. Just over 2 minutes to go. We'll hear from them coming up on U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live. The Bears with 77 yards. Jay Cutler was their leading rusher on this day. The Packers chucked the ball 45 times. They go over 300 yards. but the big costly turnover came just over 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Rodgers passed. James Jones was forced loose by Brian Urlacher, and a good help there with Lance Briggs, who was first on the scene. Tim Jennings ended up picking up the football. It led to the game-winning field goal by Robbie Gould. Here's Urlacher after the ball game.
It wasn't pretty, but I like ugly wins instead of ugly losses, so we'll take it.
What's it like going against Rodgers when he throws all the time and it
It's
almost
good.
forsakes the running game?
Yeah, it's worse. I'd rather him have the opportunity to run it too, but he's a good quarterback. He knows what coverage you're in. He knows where to go with the football. You're not going to trick him, and he's mobile. You saw him run there at the end. He's a mobile guy. He's got it all.
Can you talk about the play you and Lance combined to get the strip on that play?
We're just going for the, I think we had a missed tackle there, and we both ran in the football, and luckily we got it out.
Brian, it's early, but does this team start to remind you yet of the Super Bowl team?
We're 3-0. Got a long way to go. Like you said, it's early. We're worried about the Giants now. We started late in the season and get to the playoffs and win some games. We'll talk about it then, but we're 3-0 right now. That's all that matters.
You guys don't win this game a year ago. You're not here. Peppers isn't here today.
It doesn't matter. It was last year. It doesn't matter. This was this year. We're trying to worry about one game at a time and who we play next.
Brian, when you guys need a big play on defense, you got it. How nice is it to see the force the turnover and get the win?
It was big. We had to get the ball back. They were driving again. They had a couple of long plays there. The intentional grounding was big for us. But we go for the football all the time. That's what our coaches preach, and we do it in practice, and we try and do it in the game.
How proud of you are your teammates after a game like this?
So we showed a lot of character, man. We didn't play pretty for most of the game, but we made plays when we had to. Our guys never gave up. We had some guys step up and make plays when they had to. And it was fun. It's always fun when you win. It's easy to say that, but it's fun when you lose, except after the game when you lose. It's fun during the game, though. But, we had a lot of character. A lot of guys, our offense, came through when they had to. Hester showed up with a big punt return. He's back, so that was exciting to see.
Well, it's great to see the way Brian Urlacher has bounced back after missing almost all of last season. And what we saw, early on, Rodgers was on his game. He was fitting balls in small areas. He was moving outside the pocket. He had the entire thing going. And at one time, I don't know if it was Jaws or if it was Gruden, said, you know what? Marinelli's going to have to out-scheme him. Otherwise, out-scheme them with the defensive calls because Rodgers and the Packers are going to pick him apart. To that you say?
I disagree, and I respect John tremendously, and I've coached or been a player under him, obviously, as well. It's just not the Bears' style of defense. Their scheme is their scheme. It's the Tampa 2 scheme. They're going to bring maybe a fifth rusher, and it's out of the ordinary for them to bring 6. You very rarely see the Bears go blitz 0, and a lot of it is to protect the secondary of the Chicago Bears. These aren't the safeties of the New York Jets, and these aren't the corners over there at the New York Jets like Darrelle Revis. So scheme somewhat limits the Bears. The players that they have in the secondary fit the Tampa 2. That's why the Bears stick with that MO.
Yeah, because they rely upon the guys up front to really bring the pressure. And you saw today, really, they had an opportunity with double teaming the ends. And you saw Anderson being double teamed on the left, and sometimes Peppers and the guys inside were one-on-one. Those are situations they have to win. So when you talk about trying to out-scheme them, I think it's more the execution of the defenses that they're in.
The coaches always say, don't outsmart yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what happens a lot of times. I want to go to something else, too, though, Pat. When you talk about the total yardage today, the Green Bay Packers, it looks very impressive, the 316 yards they had passing or whatever.
I know where you're going here.
But let me tell you something. When you have 152 yards in penalties, that's not a good thing.
No.
And that's exactly what the Packers had today. 17 penalties for 152 yards. Can you imagine how much offense that is taken off the board? A huge amount.
Back to the defense and the way they played, a lot of pressure is put on the linebacking corps. When you got the 4 guys rushing, you've got your safeties and your corners knowing what they're going to do. It puts a lot to try to pick up. Finley coming out, or one of the running backs, or picking up a receiver that's coming through the slot. I mean, a lot of pressure is put on those linebackers, and there was one area that I think the Bears defense had to improve on, and it was tackling. They were getting through the initial contact, and it was the second and third man in that ended up making the tackle on the play. That's something that was uncharacteristic of this Bears defense.
Well, here's what I'm going to say is, you could see that early in the game. Packers have some speed now. They do have some team speed that compete with the Chicago Bears, but it's over time. It's that Bear pride we always talk about. We saw it last week against Dallas. They just pepper you, and they pepper you, and they keep on coming after you. Guys are cramping up on Green Bay. Players start to get lazy. That's why balls get swatted out. The Bears are going to outlast you. That's how we're built, and now we've seen it 2 weeks in a row where the Bears have just outperformed their opponents.
Well, let's show the video. We've actually can only show stills during this time slot here due to NFL rules of the big turnover late in the game, and it's something that these guys pride themselves on. First man in is 55, Lance Briggs. He goes for the tackle. Second man in comes through with the punch. And it's something they talk about every day. Briggs always says on his TV show on Thursday nights, they always say, watch what Peanut does and do what he does. And he does it very well. But the key thing here, Howard, is Jennings staying in bounds to make the play.
Yeah, absolutely. It's right there on the sidelines, an opportunity for it to bounce out, but he has a presence of mind to jump on it. His feet don't go out of bounds, but it's about rallying to the football when you're a player. And then you talk about tackling. Yes, it's an issue, but at the end of the day, they still all rally to the ball, and then the second man in can have an opportunity to strip it.
Sometimes what happens, though, you guys try to blow somebody up, and sometimes when you do that, you may miss. The other thing is, if you're trying to strip the ball, sometimes that guy will run out of your grasp. So it's not so much important to always try to strip the balls to bring the guy to the ground sometimes, and that serves its purpose.
Lance Briggs led the way with 9 tackles, 55, addressed the media a short time ago. Let's listen in.
Stand by. Camera 2.
We'll have to audible there, and we'll get Lance Briggs. Usually a man of many words, but both he and Brian have been just stellar forces on this defense all season long.
You see why these guys are going to Pro Bowls, and I think it's really clear to everybody this year, especially now when you watch them finally get back together and see them, operating out there together, and to show you how strong they are. Piece of Tino Isamoa is out on the field doing a good job. You barely recognize him because these guys are just playing fabulous football.
We'll get to Briggs, and we'll hear from Greg Olsen, who had a great ball game tonight. That's coming up next on U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live. Stay right where you are. Back on you. We'll get to that important topic in just a second, Jinx. We invite you to chime in with a question on CSNChicago.com, like Mike and Tinley Park. Howard, do the Bears win this game without picking up Peppers in the offseason?
I don't think so. And I think you look at what happened with Tommy Harris today, really letting the team down. And you talk about what Peppers brought to the table today. He's a fierce pass rusher coming off the edge. They can flip him. They can rush him on the left side and the right side. And you see the contributions that he made also in special teams, going over Brian Bulaga, the rookie guard right there in the special team. So I think he brought a lot to the table, and he's going to continue to get better. And it's going to be some guys that are going to have an opportunity to make some plays because of his presence on the field.
I want to talk about Tommy Harris, too, because I think we kind of glossed over that a little bit. But it's about time for him to grow up. Tommy...
he said he had. He said he was a changed man this year.
This is serious business. This is the biggest game this team has had all year long, and he was nowhere to be found. He's over there in civvies. And to have a guy with that amount of talent and not have him out on the field, he ought to be embarrassed.
Time now to bring in CSNChicago.com Bears beat writer John Moon Mullen. And, John, you just heard Jig's comments, pretty strong. Tommy Harris should be embarrassed. Your thoughts on Harris being inactive tonight?
Well, I'd really echo Danny's thoughts there. I mean, this is... I'm not sure where Tommy Harris has been. Since we've seen him all offseason, the guy hasn't missed a practice. And he trotted off the field on Saturday. He looked fine, so it wasn't an injury situation. You wonder where the kid's head is. And, he's not a kid anymore, which kind of gets to your point, Dan. This is time. He needs to be one of the leaders. And I actually thought that, Howard, you're talking about Julius Peppers coming in. I thought that was going to be one of those maturing factors. Tommy wasn't going to have to be the lead dog and wasn't going to have all the pressure on him. He hasn't responded, and he certainly hasn't responded with any sort of production. So, I'm not sure when that light is going to go on and stay on.
From an offensive standpoint, we saw some changes up on the offensive line tonight. We saw Jamarcus Webb jump in there a couple of times. We just wondered what was going on up there up front, that they made those, a couple of quick changes.
Well, Danny, they're very high on Jamarcus Webb, which is, again, another one of those. Every year they pick an offensive lineman in the set with the last pick in the 7th round. But they're very high on him. And what they really were doing was rotating. If you notice, Kevin Schaefer was back in. They were going kind of 2 series on, 1 series with Webb, giving the guys some playing time. Now, I would say you're picking the Green Bay Packer Monday Night Football game to give the kid some reps, but that's how highly they regard him. And I'm not sure they felt like they were losing anything by going to the kid in this situation, because there were some funky defenses going out there, and actually Schaefer had his struggles early too.
Hey, John, good to talk to you again. Jim Miller here.
Hey,
just
Jim.
wondering, how were the sideline mechanics? Here, Jay Cutler said in the post-game press conference the headsets were out. How much did that affect them early? And then you got to give the offense a lot of credit. I mean, they were gritty and scored when they had to, but certainly not happy with their overall performance. That's what Jay diagnosed.
Yeah, I think that's probably maybe the best sign. They realize, and this goes to both sides of the ball, they haven't won anything yet, and they know they haven't played their best football yet. And not like they stole one here, but Cutler's exactly right. There's not enough to go away feeling really good about the run game, or whether the O-line handled things as well as it could have. Jay threw a couple of balls, in fact, that might have the one that should have turned into an interception in the 4th quarter. Now, a lot of things to improve on, but what I was impressed in the locker room, almost to a man, they all recognize that. It's great to beat the Packers, but we're 3-0. We still have a lot of areas we have to get better in, which is a sign of a mature team to me.
Quickly, John, how close do you think the Bears were truly to taking Devin Hester off of punt returning duties?
Pat, I was told not at all. In fact, one coach told me, he said, I'm not sure where that's all coming from, but he's the best we have, and we're going to leave him there because we know sooner or later something's going to happen, and tonight something did happen. So, no, there was, as I was told early in the week, they weren't thinking about a change.
Great stuff as always, John. We'll look forward to seeing your work at CSNChicago.com later tonight.
All right, guys.
Lance Briggs led the way with 9 tackles on this night. 55 addressed the media a short time ago. Let's listen in.
This week, did you make it?
Yeah, I mean, we got to make a statement every week. Every game is a statement for us. We're an underdog. We understand our role, but it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks. We just go out and we grind it out.
How about a guy like Tim Jennings coming in and contributing?
Huge. It doesn't matter who gets plugged in. We believe in every member on this team. Every guy that gets put out there.
This game, was there a turning point or many turning points this game? Just to go back.
This Green Bay is by far one of the best teams in the NFL. And it's going to be a dogfight. You expect that. It's a rival game. They're out here. We're both undefeated. So it was kind of a big chess match. Huge chess match.
What did special teams mean to you guys? Did it seem like
everything
they could turn things around for you guys tonight?
Everything came into play. Special teams, big plays, critical situations, even penalties, on critical drives. Everything came into play.
Thanks a lot.
Coming up, we're going to hear from Greg Olsen and more of your emails. Now to check in with Bears superfan and friend of this show, Steve Dahl, and his tweets on Twitter. Julius's peppered cheddar. I pretended every Packers penalty flag was a piece of cheese hitting the turf. What was there, 18 of those, something like that? And the Bears will beat the Giants next week and go 4-0. Bears. No question about it. Greg Olsen targeted 6 times tonight, 5 catches. He had that touchdown catch and an interview with the media at Soldier Field. Let's listen in.
It's been great. From the beginning, I said during training camp and even before that, I said I feel good about it. Coach Martz has done a great job. We've had a great relationship since he got here, and tonight was a good example of that. The first couple games we tried to do different stuff. Didn't work out for whatever reason, but we kept at it, and tonight we were able to connect on some big plays.
Do you feel like the Bears actually made a big statement tonight with this one?
Yeah, I think we did. It'd be easy to say it was just another game, but this was huge. Monday Night Football, to beat your division rival, and we're atop the NFC. So, like I said, 3-0 is the best you can be after 3 games, but we still got a long season ahead of us.
Yeah, I got to credit Greg Olsen. First thing Mike Martz did when he arrived in town, he went on the Score at one point, and they were talking about the tight end not being used or being, especially in his offense, having to block. Not Greg's strong suit. Translation was they're going to shop Olsen in the offseason. Now things changed. They mended the fences, and Greg went to Bourbonnais, committed to be a part of this offense. But you got to credit a guy who's is a first-round pick, under some heat, doesn't know how he's going to respond to a new offensive coordinator, and was a part of the offense a lot tonight. Wasn't a part of a lot of it.
I got a question for you guys though. Where was Mike Martz before he came here? He was in San Francisco, was he not?
Well, yeah.
It was well, they have a pretty good tight end in San Francisco, and they weren't getting rid of him. I don't think the Bears ever really contemplated getting rid of Greg Olsen. I think particularly when Mike Martz got a look at what he could do with a different kind of weapon. To him, I think that he's looking at somebody like Greg Olsen and going, I never really had a guy that could do these kinds of things from that position, so it gives me something else to work with. It's another tool in the toolbox to work with. And we saw tonight, what a difference it can make. And certainly, when you talk about outstanding passing games, look at the outstanding passing games in the NFL right now. We just saw one tonight. Where was Jermichael Finley? Pretty doggone good. You better have a tight end that can catch the rock.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, too, was the fear of what Mike Martz had done in years past, not using necessarily the tight end to his fullest ability. So I can understand his apprehension when he knows that Mike Martz is coming in and now everyone's concerned about his blocking. He knows he needs to be a better blocker. I don't think that's an issue. He's continuing to get better. It's not his strong suit, but he's still finding a way to fit in this offense. The touchdown he had today was an unbelievable catch, because you talk about body control and holding on to the football. Big play for him.
And we talk about big plays on that 4th and 1. Not a perfect pass from Jay Cutler to Des Clark, but should Clark have caught that ball, Jim?
Yeah, I think it's a catchable football. In these type of games, you got to make the play. The play. You're a paid professional. I think Jay certainly could be more accurate with the ball. Difficult catch, yeah. Uncatchable? No, I wouldn't say that. Yeah. Des Clark would expect himself to catch that 99 out of 100. Just so happened the one time was today.
One time, right?
Tim Jennings took over Zach Bowman's spot out there on the corner for Lovey's defense on this night. Came away with the the game-changing turnover there in the final couple minutes of this ball game, which led to Robbie Gould's game winner. Tim Jennings addressed the media. Let's listen in.
How good did that feel?
I mean, it felt good just to be out there running around with your team again. I like to contribute also on the special teams whenever, whatever my job is. But, like when a guy goes down, I want to be able to be ready. I mean, I'm the next corner to come in. I want to step up, so I just want to, fill that gap and be able to contribute to the team as much as I can.
Tim, you've probably been asked this 10 times already, but can you talk about the play, making the recovery, and it's obviously one of the biggest plays of the game?
Oh, yeah, it was. I mean, you have to tap my hats off to all the guys on defense. That was my man. I missed a tackle, but one thing we do, we run to the football and we try to punch it out. And I think it was Lance that punched the ball out, and I just was able to get to the football, and I just wanted to try to keep my feet in and just recover. And that's one thing I was able to do, but you got to tap your hats off to the defense, man. We fly around and we get to the football.
Wins are always good.
Tim Jennings, who would have known he would have made the show tonight, but he did indeed. Coming up, it's our McDonald's Player of the Game. Also, we'll have our Monsters of the Midway. It's all coming up next. Touchdown he had, you almost overthrew him. And David Garrard, 13-30. Jacksonville struggling mightily with him at the helm. Taking a look at our U.S. Cellular poll question. Bears are the lone unbeaten in the NFC. Are they the best, though? Yes, no, or the jury's still out? You got time to log on to csnchicago.com. The results are coming up in the next few minutes.
And tell the story. When you look at what he was able to do on special teams, blocking the field goal, then you look at all the holding penalties that he generated with his fierce pass rush, people will understand that this guy is worth every penny that he has.
Well, there's no question he was special. I think Jiggs diagnosed him as Superman. He was great tonight. The Packers are green. They still couldn't stop him, believe it or not. He was their kryptonite tonight. But I'll tell you what, I got to go with Brian Urlacher. Look at the pass defense right before the half. Lance Brigg picks it off. The 8 tackles at Urlacher all over the field. And then, of course, the key turnover. He's the one that goes in on the wide receiver, Jones, knocks the ball out. That's why the Bears win the game.
Jiggs?
Kool-Aid.
Sorry, having a little bear Kool-Aid. Look, let's get this thing straight. Julius Peppers, number one. I've got Briggs, Lance
Come
Briggs.
on, one, Jigs,
Brian Urlacher had a huge game. And Jay Cutler, let's be honest, they won the game. Those are the men. Let's give them their propers.
I'm going with the Windy City Flyer. Devin Hester, his 28-yard punt return just before the half set up the first touchdown for the Bears on the night. And then in the fourth quarter, 62 yards. Devin Hester, you are ridiculous. His first kick return since December 30th, 2007. You are my monster of the Midway. Time now to find out who the McDonald's Angus Third Pounder player of the game is each week. We want you at home to vote and tell us who you think the Bears player of the game is. This week's choices were the usual suspects: Julius Peppers, Devin Hester, Jay Cutler, and Brian Urlacher, all mentioned as our monsters of the Midway, and all mentioned by Jigs as his. Here's what you had to say after logging on to CSNChicago.com. You said it is the one and only Julius Peppers, 53%. Thanks for helping us out. 25% said it's the man from the U, Devin Hester. All right, guys, your thoughts on the results here? I mean, there wasn't a bad pick in the litter, right?
No, there really wasn't. Frankly, I thought that they could have had a few more, actually. Yeah. When you come out of a game like this, though, you realize what it makes you realize, though, is that with all that went on, how important it is for all three phases of the game to be played well. You're going to have some down times. There's no question about that. You're going to have some times when you're challenged, when the Bears down on the goal line and didn't get in. When Dez dropped that would have been a touchdown pass. All of these things come into play. But at the end of the day, what counts is everybody pulling together, pulling on the same end of the rope. And we've seen times when maybe this team hasn't done this in years past. But this time around, they reached down and grabbed what they had still left in their heart and won the football game.
How is Staley not on that list? Getting the crowd fired up. He got the crowd fired up. Julius Peppers, he's getting those offensive linemen to jump offside. Staley was a part of that, too, so he should have been on that poll.
Well, I'll write him in on mine.
There it is.
Little
Next
write-in
week,
ballot.
Staley will have it. Coming up, we're going to have our poll results. We'll have some of your emails. And next up on the list, it is the New York Football Giants.